Need a second, Bill?
Yeah.
Okay, call the meeting to order at 6:05. We're changing the agenda. Item 3 will now be, we're looking at paint swatches for, what was the, address? John? Yeah. We'll look at that now. We're looking at,
It'll be an email approval. You're looking at it, but you're thinking about this without you. You're just gonna say a little more. Yeah. But you can add it and, you know.
Okay, so that will be the change to the agenda, and I need a motion to approve the change to the agenda.
I'll move to approve. I'll move to approve the agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Wayne, are you there?
I am.
Is that unanimous?
Yes. Okay, item 2, approval of the meeting minutes from 6/24.
To approve the meetings of 6/6/24.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous? All right, let's go down to item 12. 12 Green Hill Road. This was the lighting change. Any comments? I think this was the one where the glass was a little bit too older, did that. So any comments? Motion?
Appreciate them working with us and move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, unanimous.
Who made the motion?
I did.
Item 13, 93 Harbor View Drive. Patrick? Are you up and running, Joe?
Yes. This was the one with the elevator, right? We had a question about whether, is the work been done or is it still? Okay, so this wasn't just adding the roof, this was actually doing the,
And we approved the elevator, right? And this is just for the roof, right? Okay. Speak in the microphone, please.
I said, we like Sun Valley, and if we're gonna stay here, we're gonna have to put an elevator in due to age and health.
So is this a change to the roof design, or did you have a roof on it before?
What was your question?
Is this a change to the actual design of the roof?
No, this is all new design. Was that your question?
Okay.
present time, it has the outside decks like that, the 3 decks. And we want to add the elevator chute, put the elevator in it, and connect, and then the small, overhang on the house there, give us a little, area there.
Okay. Anybody have any comments about this?
The ask is about the whole project, the elevator and the roof.
Yeah, that's what I wasn't clear about. It looks like we're approving the whole project, not just, this isn't just a roof thing. This is
Yeah,
the approval of the elevator install.
this, this includes the elevator and the covered deck, the roof over the covered deck area.
Did you have a
Is
question?
that correct?
I'm having a hard time hearing it. What was your question?
That was correct, right? This includes the elevator and the roof over the covered deck.
Yes.
And as far as the numbers go, I mean, there's no height increase, no driveway slope is not an issue. The property coverage is within limits and the open space remains within limits.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, some of these questions you asked me, my architect could probably answer better than I can. This is what we've designed, previous, let me just read, and it's, right now we have it in front of you folks, and we also have it, in front of Whatcom County to see if they'll approve it.
You don't have approval from Whatcom County yet?
It's in for permit process right now. No, we do not have approval from Whatcom County yet.
And that's typical, right?
Yeah, generally. Many builders will submit concurrently with the county and Sudden Valley. The county can take months, sometimes years to approve projects. Sudden Valley, we usually have a turnaround of 3-4 weeks, a month, 2 months tops. Then what Sudden Valley will request to at our compliance review meeting is a copy of the stamped and approved Whatcom County plans.
Yeah. So this is always contingent on them getting permission from the county.
From an orientation standpoint, is this going to back up against Lake Whatcom Boulevard then? Is this the back of the house against?
That's correct. Yeah.
So it's not,
This does not butt up to the house. The decks, that's right at the edge of the decks on all 3 floors. That's gonna, on the top deck, we will cut in approximately 24 inches. And then it's gonna be just a chute. And when you get out of the elevator, you walk off onto the deck.
right? I'm just looking at it from a neighbor standpoint. So you're not putting anything facing your neighbor. It's going to be facing the back of it's the back of the house facing Lake Whatcom Boulevard.
Right. There's the driveway, right? That pulls off of Harborview Drive. So they enter and then the elevators at the rear. So here's the existing with the house and the driveway already in place. And then over here, you can see the addition of the covered deck and the elevator. And then Lake Whatcom Boulevard's to the right.
Yeah, when we drove by there a few weeks ago, we had to pull over on that busy road and you could barely see the house and what changes there would be there. So there's really no impact to neighbors.
So if they had proposed to include this in a new house construction, if this was a new house being built and it had this elevator, everything including the elevator would meet the specs that we have for the building.
Yeah,
Anybody else have any
I
questions?
think so.
There appears to be windows on each floor on the south elevation.
There will be windows. Didn't know, there'll be windows on the, if you're looking at the elevator shaft, the windows are gonna be on the left-hand side. There's gonna be, my reason for that is my wife is claustrophobic and she wants to make sure that she can view out. So,
You get stuck, she wants to be able to look out.
yes, sir.
I can appreciate that.
And Patrick, can you tell us, will there be more lighting on the porches, or just the existing lighting?
Just use the existing lighting.
Thank you.
Good question.
So is there, would there be lighting shining out of the windows all the time, or is that motion sensor? Can you tell, Joel, from the specs?
There's no exterior lighting. We don't, I mean, our policy doesn't To the best of my knowledge, doesn't cover like interior lighting shining out of windows.
Not to interrupt, but you can see it, the kind of the configuration there on that, on the elevator shaft, how it butts up to the existing decks.
Yeah, I guess my main concern with this would just be that there would not be a bright light shining out of the windows all the time.
I wouldn't imagine the interior of the elevator shaft would be lit up.
Well, yeah, that's what I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's the inside,
If it's, I think it's the windows are in the elevator shaft itself.
In the
Right.
elevator itself.
In the elevator shaft, you got windows in the elevator shaft.
Yeah, right, but the
Assuming
light-
you got a window in the elevator, then
Yes, sir.
also. So as the window elevator goes up and down, you can see out.
Of each floor levels, you'll be able to see out that window.
anybody? have-
And Joel, just for clarification, is this considered a separate structure or a part of the main structure?
It's attached to the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Danielle, it's Wayne.
Yeah, Wayne.
So I don't have an issue with what's being proposed. What's different from the last approval is there was no deck, right? And I guess to build that deck and to build this structure attached to the house, the one question I have for consideration in the permits to Whatcom County, is there a permit for access for construction materials and equipment to access off the road? Obviously, you're not going to go downhill. You're going to come off Whatcom County or Whatcom Boulevard, right? So is there going to be stoppage of traffic? Is there going to be interruption?
I only caught part of that, Wayne. Are you talking about whether it was approved by the county? I didn't catch that all.
Nope. So if you look at another property that's just north of there, there's felling of trees because they had to access the fixed siding of the house, right? So for this particular structure, there's obviously going to be interruption on Lake Whatcom Boulevard as well. And is there the intent by the architect to also obtain a permit to build a temporary access road to bring the materials? Because obviously you're not going to bring construction materials or equipment from Harborview because it's a straight downhill to construct, right?
I think I hear what he's saying. If you drive down Lake Whatcom, there's a place where they cleared some trees out, build a house, they brought materials up off Lake Whatcom. So Wayne, is your question, is the construction going to involve materials coming from Harborview down to the house, or is it going to be Lake Whatcom up to the house through the trees?
That's correct. And you're going to have to get a separate permit.
Yeah.
And there's going to be interruption.
Hopefully that, you know, that right now there's just a small walkway across the drainage ditch there that we cut into the back there and walk up through the house there. Right now, there's no parking in the back of the house. Did that answer your question okay?
So the construction would be done, you'd bring construction materials up from Lake Whatcom up?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So therefore, you're going to be taken down and you're going to have to get a permit, or whoever your choice of the constructor, they're going to have to remediate their temporary access road into the property, right? So they're going to remediate. So what we want to understand is there in the plan, once you finish construction, they're going to remediate that access road, right? Because nobody going to just park on the road, right? They're going to build an access road to gain access to your property from the road. So they're going to have to build a temporary bridge across the ditch, right?
Joel, have you seen anything about that?
Yeah, that permission, there is a small strip of SVCA Parkway between Lake Whatcom Boulevard and all those properties along Harborview Drive. And permission needs to be granted from SVCA to cross that park in order to build. So 31 Harborview eventually got permission, but not for excavators or equipment, but just to cross, because parking up above was really tight and there was available parking down below. So they approved for foot traffic. But that approval would need to happen for this one if that's the intent.
Presently, they're building, just finishing a house down the street from me, and they accessed a lot of that from Lake Watcom side. Fortunately, where we're located, there's a pull out across the street, so there is room that vehicles and stuff can be off the road. So,
Yeah, that's where we parked when we looked at it. Is that good, Wayne?
Yeah, as long as somebody says on the motion that they're gonna consider getting a permit to not only bring the materials or access off the main road, but they're gonna remediate trees or the temporary road that's gonna be constructed to get the materials and construction crew across every day to build this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what you don't want is another property that we saw, they built a temporary drainage and culvert and access road, and then upon completion to remediate, they had to remove it. So that's what we want to make sure that you're going to remove it once you finish
I think
construction.
he's suggesting that the motion be something to the effect that it be contingent upon getting the proper clearances to access off Lake Wacom, which doesn't sound like that's our purview. That's is that the board?
I don't think he's offering to make the motion contingent upon that approval.
Or include in the motion that
Yeah,
they-
include the motion that if you're going to cross this SVCA park and access through Lake Wacom Boulevard, you need to have, explicit SVCA permission.
And who would give that permission?
Mike Brock, probably in coordination with Joanne.
All right. So that's not something that goes in front of this.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah, so we don't even need to mention that. It's just part of what Mike does.
You could.
All right.
Does that additional clearance to bring things up from Lake Whatcom take into account vegetation or trees and how wide that can be, or what kind of equipment they can bring in and out of that area?
Yeah, and they would likely grant it with if they grant it, they would add the condition that the area be restored to its original condition upon completion.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. Okay. Okay. fine.
Well, I'll make a motion that we approve this with the inclusion in the motion that if there's crossing of Lake Wacom, that they somehow or another. I'll make a motion that we approve this request with the inclusion in there that if there's any crossing of Lake Wacom into Sudden Valley, that understanding that they'll also get the proper permits or approvals for that. I can talk a little bit louder, but that's about it.
Making this humming noise that.
Made a motion to approve it.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
But there's comments on that motion, correct?
Just motion's not contingent, but just in the minutes that if they cross Lake Wacom, the understanding is they'll also have to get the proper approvals for that. Thank you. Glad you're able to stay in Sudden Valley now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Daniel?
Okay, let's go right to item 14, 15 Sudden Valley Drive. Chad here. Chad?
Please speak into that microphone.
Oh, I'm good at using a microphone. He just likes to listen to me though.
All right, this was one we spent what, like an hour on last time? And it looks like you gave us some options based on the suggestions we gave you. Anybody have any comments about this? The options?
I just would like to say that we thank you for your cooperation and for your good intentions and for providing some alternatives to the open space and I think it's predominantly the open space question.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for that.
And the only question I had is that when we went over this the other day too, the clarification on the property coverage. So option 2 is not inclusive of option 1. They're separate. It's either option 1 or option 2. So you have option 1 is reduce the overhang. That would be a 42% property coverage. Option 2 would be to remove the covered back deck. And that's a 39%. Is that right?
Yeah, if we were to keep the covered porch to allow the usage of all season, we would be able to shrink the overhangs, but we would still not be able to get as far along with the percentage. So we
Right.
said we could shrink them. We wanted to still maintain protection of the building and with overhangs and stuff. And keeping the architectural look too. So I went through and shrunk several things, and it was getting pretty hard to get to a fair compromise measurement, I felt.
Right.
I didn't think, so we decided to present a few options if we wanted to allow the architectural look to maintain. And since we're so wide at the side, we're already, the width of the house is there. It never changes. It doesn't change the look from the front, and it really wouldn't change the look at the back. It's still going to be tall. It's there. So we were just hoping to find something that helps mitigate some of the cost and the loss of value in the place.
Right. No, I think I get that. I just wanted to make sure that, so option 2, if you reduce the covered back deck, would not then be reducing the overhangs. You leave the overhangs as they
Leave them
were.
at the 1 foot and the normal
Yeah,
overhangs.
so you keep the normal overhangs, reduce the back deck, that would be the 39%.
Yes.
Okay.
We felt that was the case. That's at least a 50% compromise.
Yeah.
And that's usually my idea of what a compromise is coming to the middle.
Yeah, no, I think I appreciate that. Appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Right, and we took serious deliberation into your ideas that the house is surrounded by open space or a lot that can't be built upon. So we're taking that into consideration too, as well, in terms of a compromise.
We thought of offering the idea of buying the 20-foot from you and then moving it into a permanent conservation, but I don't think you guys are allowed to sell that to increase my lot coverage. But that's what we would just done. And at the end, it would have been the same.
Well, another thing we considered, I mean, we did approve this and we do need to look at this on its, as if it were new, but we know it's a big expense. We're trying to be fair with the builders. But right from the start, it was a big ask. And this kind of thing probably isn't going to, these kind of variances probably will not keep happening. Because, we had our meeting, our policy meeting the other day, and we've got a good idea about what our neighbors want, and they did have some complaints about houses being too big. And we do have rules right now, and you're going a little bit beyond that, and we're trying to help you out because you did compromise and we spent some time talking about it. And I think we're feeling better about where we are with this. I don't like the idea of having to chop off eaves, and I mean, it does take away from a little bit of the integrity of the house, but it's a problem because, it was asking for a lot of a variance. So we consider all of these things. Which options are we looking at? I think we said 2 was,
Proposing option 2. Is this most closely in line and achieves a 50-50 compromise?
That's item 16. Option 2 on page 3.
Any other comments? So this would be item 16. This is total roof coverage. I think that's, yeah, that's a variance request.
We've got two variance requests. We got the height variance remains, and then the property coverage remains with multiple
Different item
choice.
number.
It's a different item number. Yeah, all three of these,
Let's look at 16, I guess, first. Can we get a motion for that?
Motion to approve item 16 as submitted.
is
Or
that with option 2?
Which option?
With option.
Option 2.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That you, Wayne?
Aye.
All right, unanimous. Then item 15 was
The height.
the height variance. So you're still a little bit beyond, but you did bring it down, correct?
Yeah, I was able to modify and adjust the heel heights that require for the installation, but I was able to still make my installation requirements still work. So I was allowed to lower the heel heights because the new energy codes and the energy codes are causing us to do higher heel heights to get insulation over so I took a while to find a way to make this work. So, but it only lowered it a little bit. I still am a little bit above 20 foot. And that is even including shrinking the one overhang to a little bit,
Okay.
the very top overhang. Yeah.
And that was another thing that there were a few people that mentioned at our ACC policy meeting, the heights of some of these buildings is getting out of control. And, you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. And this is a variance. You met us halfway. You helped us out there. We didn't like any of the numbers, and I think you helped us on all of those. So anybody have any other comments about this height variance request?
I just have to say, I love the specificity of your request, which is 9 inches, 9 and 11/16 inches above the height.
Amazing what an architectural program will do when you finally get the actual. And we are also, just to be aware, we are 2.4.5 feet down from Sudden Valley Drive. So the house does drop 2.5 feet down. So from the road, it's still not going to appear as much, but unfortunately with these sloping lots, doesn't matter what you do, the house is going to feel tall. Like some of them on Cascade or the old one, Harborview, they're 4 stories.
Yeah, and we do look at that kind of thing too. Can I get a motion on that?
Motion to approve item 15.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That you, Wayne?
Aye.
Unanimous? And then 14, working backwards?
What's the approval that we're looking at for this one?
This is, I
Daniel?
guess this is just the whole construction, new construction, so we've looked at all the variance issues, so I don't think there was anything else that stood out.
It's a resubmission, right?
Yes,
Summarizing it.
yeah.
Motion to approve item 14 as the resubmission.
I second.
There weren't any issues that Joel brought up other than the variances that we discussed.
I'm sorry, did you motion? Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you,
Unanimous.
guys. See you next meeting.
Go start building. You're welcome.
Thanks for working with us.
Good night.
Well, let's go right to 7. 7 Grandview Lane. Mr. Dan Vink.
Can we jump right into the motion to approve?
Let me, yeah, well, look in the books. This one's pretty simple.
It really
This
is.
is my wife standing outside saying, why is this wall an ugly gray? Why don't we paint it to match the landscaping in the house more? So I would, like I told you the other day, I'd be okay if you denied this because I'm gonna have to do all the work. But yeah, it's a pretty simple request.
So
So
you're pretty much just matching the color of the house.
yeah,
that's the concrete
that's the
wall.
objective, is to match the color of the house so it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb.
Did you say the wall's already painted? Or is
Yeah,
it
it's
kind of-
painted. It's painted. It's like a primer coat. I don't know if they intended to finish it or they just went with the gray. It's kind of the color of a Bondo or a primer. So,
Okay, well, it looks like a good improvement.
yeah.
Get a motion?
Motion to approve item 7.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I'm gonna abstain from that.
Dan abstains. Well, you got a weekend project.
Yeah.
Good work.
Wonderful.
Item 19, 18 Shetland Court. John's still here?
You've got a new construction and a variance for each property.
Mm-hmm.
Pull that one up, Joel.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. That's
So the variance requests on these were, they were all within height, slope, coverage, open space. The variance request was for the footprint size to be smaller. than-
Yeah, yeah. It's, yeah, it's
Mm.
just,
Yeah.
it's kind of a formality at this point that the way it's written in our policies that the footprint has to be 1,000 feet without the driveway, but that's not the intention. So a lot of these are just kind of formalities as a variance. Yeah, the total living space is
Yeah.
well beyond.
Total living space is over 1,000 square feet. If you have less than 1,000 square feet at ground level is how they're defining the footprint. So because we have exclusive of the garage, so with the garage, they're at ground level, there's less than 1,000 square feet of living space on that same ground level. Therefore, a variance is required. But it seems to be the intent of the policy is to avoid small homes. So look at it, decide, is this a tiny home?
Like mine.
I'd like to mention that all three of these houses on the Shetland, which Sergey's doing the 8, which is already approved, and then 16 and 18, are just under 1,500 square feet of living space. And that's because the county requires solar for anything over 1,500. And thinking about putting in solar in Sudden Valley is kind of absurd. So that's what he did. He doesn't have to meet that. The energy code is simpler for that size of house.
And the living area is 1478.
That's interesting.
Any interesting things to point out for us, Joel?
I don't think so. I've got it all in my report there. It seems to meet all the other policy requirements. Height, lot coverage, property coverage, open space. Some of the colors are rain bronze is pre-approved.
Tree removals, landscaping.
Landscape plan is on the site plan here on page 2.
Any other questions about item 19?
I'd like to bring up something that pertains to both 16 and 18. And I don't think it's really part of your purview. It's more a staff maintenance issue, but Sergey wants to, he ran into an issue with the ditch at 49 Louisview, trying to taper the ditch off when there was a big drop off. And he ended up having to redo the whole thing. He's got a similar situation here, and his two driveways are basically adjacent. He wants to put a continuous culvert under both driveways.
How long would that be?
It makes it more stable.
I mean, how long would the run be?
So he thinks it could be as much as 80, in which case you'd probably want a catch basin in between, which he's willing to do.
That's something Mike watches, or?
Yeah. So that's something that Mike would come and inspect too during final. So what's John proposing here? This is 18 Shetland, 16 Shetland is just to the left here, and it has a driveway near the right side of the lot. So the driveways are close together. And then you'd run a culvert all the way across with a catch basin probably in the middle. Is that right, John?
Yeah.
And then, have that gravelled over. Otherwise, you've got two driveways close together with culverts terminating close to each other.
Yeah, and you have to forest ball and taper, right? I think it's getting to be too complicated in that particular location.
So this isn't about on-street parking, right? It's just for drainage? Or are you adding parking to this? To the
I
street?
mean, you would cover it with gravel. It would kind of look like a flat parking spot, but it wouldn't be very long. I don't know how much room you'd have to park a vehicle there.
You need like, what, 22 feet wide?
And a catch basin is what, just a large sort of drain in the middle of it? Goes down into the
It's a
culvert
square,
pipe?
usually a square
Square?
catch basin with a grate on it. You attach your culverts to it.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if this is to add more parking, or is it just for drainage? What's the purpose? Sounds like the ditch kind of fell apart.
Yeah, at 49 Louisview. It was the roads coming down, and by the time that there was a big drop in the ditch right from the driveway, where the driveway edge was. So trying to finish that off with forest ball and keep it stable was quite challenging. And I think Joel or Mike called him back and wanted to change it. That's what he told me was he wanted to avoid that here.
Sounds like it's more like ease of maintenance of the ditch.
Yes.
And yeah,
Where does that request fit in? Like, is that something that should be part of this?
Yeah,
or
that's
is
what I
it
was just gonna ask.
separate?
That's not really relevant for the 18 Shetland Court, is it? Or is this just a?
Well, because it's right-of-way work, I don't think it's really something you need to,
But you're talking about a different property, right?
I think he's trying to
Oh.
apply lessons learned from that property in this instance because of the similarities of the two driveways.
What he's got is, he's got 18 and 16, and they're essentially mirror houses.
Yeah.
And it's gonna look like the one we looked at on Marigold where the guy wants to put the deck in, and his neighbor's house was right next to it, the two driveways right next to each other.
Hmm.
And then they didn't have a culvert in between, and there was that catch basin at the bottom. Everything just drained down into there. I think what they're looking at is two separate driveways here, but when you actually get out there, it's gonna make more sense to not put driveway culvert, open space, driveway culvert, but to cover the whole thing contiguously across there, right?
yes.
And that's my question is like, is that something that should be on this, or is that a separate issue? Where does that fit in terms of approval?
I guess, I mean, I guess
Hey, Dan, hey,
it would
Dan,
be on the
if I-
right of way of both properties, so I guess it should be considered for both.
I would think that the committee would look at it and refer it to staff.
Wayne, did you have a comment?
yeah, so if you look at, the drawing submission here for this one, I don't know, I don't know the particulars on 49 Louise, but you should be looking at Shetland Court. And you look at the one that's, he's got the driveway and he's got the culvert overhang there, and then, it doesn't show where, well, it shows the catch basin somewhere in the middle of the house. So the storm sewer comes across from the house. So are you looking at the top of the plan view, page 6 of 11?
We're losing you a little bit, Wayne.
Page 6 of 11?
Wayne, are you there?
Yep, page 6 of 11. Look
We,
at the call.
it's unintelligible right now. It's very staticky for some reason. I'm not sure why.
I thought he said page 6 of 11. Could have been.
So I think the question of whether 18 Shetland and 16 Shetland, the culverts for the driveways, it appears to not be on this application. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So
Sergey wanted me to bring it up to you guys.
if,
This is what he hopes to do.
gotcha. And if we, I suppose if we approve this, there would have to be a separate application and approval process for this joined culvert pipe and the driveway, the two driveways, and something along the lines of 80 feet, and that would be a separate request. Is that what we're looking at?
If
Okay.
the committee feels that they have jurisdiction over that, over the right-of-way.
Any changes to the ditch require ACC approval as well as SVCA
We're
approval.
looking at two other items on the agenda that both deal with Sudden Valley right of way and culverts and ditches. So I would think that it would be, I think the question is, do you go forward with approval of this? And then expect them, you haven't made a decision yet whether you're going to do that. It's just speculating that you might end up
That's
doing
what
it?
he wants to do.
He wants to. So I think what we're going to say is if we approve this, that we're going to request that him submit that.
Okay,
I mean, simply saying, hey, I might do this is
Right.
great. Thank you for the shot across the bow, but we'll need something to submit it for that.
okay.
So I think that's, yeah. So you're saying we could approve this, but if he wants to do that culvert thing, that may happen, but that's going to have to come back with a separate request.
Yeah, so that culvert is not reflected on any of these drawings. So, yeah, we could approve it as is. Yeah. Does anybody have any other
I
issues?
think each one has a culvert, right, showing a, individually.
Just a normal one.
Yeah.
But the tie-in is what
Yeah.
he wants to do. That's a great idea.
Do we know the width of the driveway as proposed, Phil?
I could measure it. I think they're under 20,
20
over
feet or
20
something?
maximum.
Just curious.
Okay, Dan, can you guys hear me now?
Wayne, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm looking at 6 of 11, page 6 of 11, item 21, right? So you look at that top or site plan there, they've got the culvert connected, and then they've got the culvert going across the driveway there.
Item,
So,
item 19.
no, so go to item 21, we're talking about 18 Shetland Court, right? You can see the culvert that's proposed there on the concrete driveway. It's about 20 feet wide.
Hey, hey, Wayne, Diane's gonna call you because it's really hard to hear you.
I think what thought I heard him say is that item 21, which is 16 Shetland, which we're not talking about, but we are kind of talking about
18 Shetland.
18 Shetland. Page 6 of 11 has got a landscape. And I thought that's what I heard him say, but I don't.
And you can see the culvert cutting across, being proposed, cutting across the driveway. Driveway is about 20 feet wide, double garage.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay, I got it now. Yeah, the culvert across the driveway. But there's a culvert across a driveway, there's an open space, and then there's a culvert across another driveway. Right there's the culvert. So right now we would be approving this with a culvert underneath this driveway.
Separate.
Yeah,
culverts.
transitioning back into a ditch. Going to the next property, transitioning to a culvert underneath the driveway.
Correct.
And the edge of the driveway is usually sloped down this way also.
Right.
So that rock and gravel, can end up in the ditch.
Right.
So by having a catch basin there,
I think,
And
and your
avoid
question
that.
was if they do that, they sort of create this no man's land flat space that could become parking.
Right.
If they
yeah.
come back with another request to do that, we can look at that independently and maybe say, well, you need to plant some trees on there so it's not parking.
Yeah, exactly. I think what we're seeing here, I don't think anybody has a problem with this, but yeah, we definitely would want to see what you're proposing to join these together.
And I suppose to some extent, there's a question of whether you could park a vehicle there with this catch basin, people driving over that all the time, and how that affects the culvert pipe itself and so forth. I don't know, just hypothetical.
Yeah, so we'll look at that.
Well, you want to take these together, the construction and then the footprint, or separately? Diane's telling me separately. This would be item 19. Well, let's do item 20 first. Let's approve the variance, right? That would probably be the proper order. So I would make a motion on item 20, the variance request for 18 Shetland Court. Make a motion to approve that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
And then just to stay with the theme, I'll make a motion that we,
Yes, I am.
I'm sorry, Wayne?
I don't know what the motion. If
motion,
you look at the page that was 6 of 11, right? If you look at mission, it's got two houses on the same drawing. There's already 16 Shetland on the elevation view. On the site plan, the top-down view shows 18 Shetland. So it's very confusing.
Which page is that, Wayne?
We're back to page 611.
Item 21.
Right. Correct.
No, 21. We're not on 21.
There.
What?
We're all trying to figure out where you are.
Yeah, I think item 21 is not what we're voting on, right?
No,
And what I'm trying,
you're doing 20 for the variance, for the foot.
right. But okay, so we're ignoring, are we ignoring the culvert issue, right? That's not what we're,
Correct,
not
it's
what
gonna
we're-
be separate construction change request.
We're approving it as it is presented to us.
not the drawings that they submitted on item 21. It's totally confusing because they have two houses on the same drawing, right? The top-down view shows 18 Shetland. And then the elevation view, which is the side view, shows 16 Shetland. That's the confusion.
And that's on item 21.
Yes.
Item
On what
21
they,
has the wrong elevation.
Elevation of what?
Saying the elevation for 16 is, for 18 is showing on 16.
Which elevations? Are the pages mixed up here?
Item 21, page 6.
So of item 21, is that correct?
It shows the site profile of number 16 Shetland Court.
11. And then, and it's item 21. So it's got two houses on there. One is 18 Shetland, and then the other is 16 Shetland. They're both mixed into
Go
the
to
same
page
drawing.
6, item 21.
That's where we are.
In the agenda,
Two houses and they're different.
page 6, item 21.
Right, but not the elevation. It's not, that's number 16, which is appropriate for item 21.
You talking about the elevation of the ditch?
Are you talking about the elevation of the ditch? He's asking.
Yeah, I mean,
This is 18.
You're talking to me?
Yeah.
This is 16.
Yeah, so the side view or the elevation view is showing 16 Shetland, right? And then the site plan, which is the top-down view, is showing 18 Shetland. So it's confusing that we're referring to something that's on another item.
So why are 16 and 18 both on one page? It looks like that's your definition of your height for 16.
I think I see what he's saying. If you look at item
the
Item
profile view is
21,
under-
item 21, page 6 of 11. The site profile, side view says 16 Shetland Court,
Yeah.
and the site plan also says 16 Shetland Court. But if you look down below that, it says 18 Shetland Court, which I think that's just a,
No,
That's
no,
just a-
that's,
that's just a note.
that's just the lot below it. That's
That's
lot,
just a not note showing the lot below it.
yeah, that's the lot next door, lot 88, 18 Shetland Court. If you look above it, there's Div 24, lot 90.
If we're talking about
Here.
page 6 of 11 on item 21, then that's labeled correctly.
I had the same
Oh, I
confusion.
see.
when
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
Yeah.
trying to sort these out.
Item 21, page 6 of 11 is labeled correctly.
Okay.
I agree.
So based on that, are we back to item 19, which is the approval of the construction? I'll make a motion on that. Motion to approve construction on 18 Shetland Court.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You with us, Wayne?
Wayne?
Can you repeat what did they just?
The motion was to approve new construction for 18 Shetland Court.
Okay, aye for 18.
Item 19.
So are we done with was 18 Shetland Court? And it said that was 18. We just did 18, right?
Did 18.
He's the boss.
We'll do item 21 now. 16 Shetland Court.
What happened?
We voted on it.
Okay.
Pardon? Yes, we approved 19 and 20, right? We're done with that one.
Okay, item 21, 16 Shetland Court. Wayne, are you with us?
Actually not. I'm gonna try dialing in the other way.
Yeah, Wayne made a comment about this one, so I want to make sure he's clear about everything. Are we all clear about the extra drawing that's accurate for this one? That's just
Page 6.
yeah. That's okay.
Wayne, is that you dialed in? You need to unmute.
Well, he's unmuting. Are these the same floor plans? I mean, I'm trying to figure it out as they're sitting here, but
Well, I know they're similar. I don't know
Similar.
if they're
identical.
mirror or not,
Okay. Okay, thank you.
pretty close to it.
You look at the roof line, the roof lines are different. They have a different break in the eaves. and stuff. Yeah. They're different colors.
Yeah, I just want to make sure Wayne is clear with all this.
It doesn't appear to me on page 10 that there are any issues with trees that I can discern. Any comments?
I was just looking at that. I had a question about one of them. Why does the tree, I guess it would be the one in the upper left, why does that have to come out? It looks like it's quite a ways away from the house.
So I think that's a designation from the city going with their canopy plan.
I think what it is a 10, they give you a 10-foot distance from the house, and that's considered your site, your construction building window site. And so anything in that can be removed. Is that right, John?
Yes, or if you're going to be close enough to sever roots and basically kill the tree, then it's better to take it out.
Mm-hmm.
So regardless of the size of the tree, it come out.
And that's why you see it follow the contour of the roof.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they have a requirement that the canopy of the tree not be within a certain distance of the house or overhang the house? Or?
I don't know.
They county, figures out how to meet the canopy requirement. You need to have so much canopy remaining.
Okay.
And they go through and figure out which trees contribute to the canopy that can stay, that aren't near the house. And if they get enough canopy, then anything else could be taken out, right? If they have trouble reaching the canopy, then they'll do something else. So they mark the different areas, what remains and what gets taken out.
Okay. I was just curious. Thought I might explain why half the trees in my yard are shaved on one side. Guess that might, I got to continue to search for answers on that one.
So looking at page 11, it appears that the tree in question is a 12-inch diameter tree. I can't see what kind of tree it is, and it's right next to what appears to be a 16-inch diameter tree that's not coming down.
That might be dicey,
Where are you getting those numbers?
unless you put it
It
with
says
stone.
12 inches right
I see.
there.
We're not doing anything on this with variance wise other than the footprint, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Everything else is pretty clean.
Any other comments about 16 Shetland Court? Need a motion for this then?
You want to do, following earlier precedents, the square footage variance first? 22?
Doesn't matter to me. We could do the, all right, we'll do 22. There's a variance for square footage, and again, this is just checking boxes because of the way it's described in our policies at this point. So this is it does go beyond the 1,000 square foot total living space.
I'll make a motion to approve item 22 as submitted.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Follow that up with a motion to approve item 21 as submitted.
All in favor?
May I ask a
Aye.
question, please, before we? I'm sorry. We've already made a comment about 18 Shetland and the culvert. Do we want to also include that in the motion? A similar wording?
Well, I think we're going to review that as a separate application.
Okay. Thank you. We can proceed.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Sorry, which one was that?
21.
We have somebody who is here, dialed in, and I don't know who it is. Would you like me to figure out who that is? It's not Wayne. He's dialed in. Somebody else.
That sounds like fun. Let's see what happens.
Whoever has the phone number ending in 913, could you state your name and address? Go ahead and unmute.
I'm an attendee. This is Oleg Shporko. I'm an attendee. Hello?
Yeah, this isn't a Zoom meeting. This is, you need to attend.
You're welcome to join us in the barn, but this isn't a Zoom meeting. And he kept coming back.
This is not a meeting, this meeting's not on Zoom, or like people can watch it, but they can't participate. Is that what it is?
It's my understanding if anybody wants to participate, need to.
Right.
It's not an official.
Right. You can watch the meeting, like observe it on Zoom or not?
It's being recorded because
Oh, okay. Gotcha. And then it gets recorded so that it gets posted later on to the, all right. All right, thank you.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Get a clarification on that. That's correct.
Thank you.
Am I done?
Think you're good.
Yes, yes, thank you.
Clarification,
Yes.
do another submission for the joint culvert.
Yeah,
What's going
we
on?
approved what you've done, the drawing that you gave us. But we don't know about the culvert that you're going to propose. We need to look at that.
Yeah. There was also the one Indian colors. Is that,
Oh, right.
are you just sending me an email?
They're gonna talk about it first.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's look at that, Joel. This is item 3, right? One Indian Ridge. We got rid of the old item 3 and which was 70 Windward Drive. That was that's not on our agenda, but the new item 3 is Indian Ridge, one Indian Ridge, and some color changes.
Yep. So here, this is the one Indian Ridge. It's under construction currently. This is what has been approved. This is what it looks like, the elevations. Oh, am I not sharing? These are the current approved colors.
Oh, sounds good right now.
For the record, while we're watching this, Wayne abstained from item 21 because the drawings are incorrect.
I don't think you heard us clarify it. So these are the new colors?
No, these are what have been approved.
Okay.
But John is going to explain
So
what you want to
he's-
do.
He's sticking with those two colors. He's contemplating a third color for like the gables as an accent. And he would choose a color from the pre-approved color list or palette. So is that something you can consider or approve without form, or okay to put the form in late or whatever?
You have no idea what the new color is going to be?
No. That's the problem. He hasn't made up his mind.
Could you show us the house again, just so we get an idea where these colors are going?
So you're talking about it in the gables, so above the garage there, that triangle. Is that right, John?
That's my understanding.
That's the mystery color? Is that what you're saying? The gable?
That would be the third color.
Okay. So where's the double latte and the ultra white?
All the body, rest of the house is double latte. The trim is white, and the garage door, I assume, is white.
So this has been approved with those two colors.
Yes.
You
But he
want
does-
to add a third color, that's going to be one of the pre-approved colors. Is there anything in the guidelines about limiting the number of colors to less than 3 or 2? So there's nothing, I mean, if they had come originally with this color, we would have, and it was a pre-approved color, it wouldn't have been an issue.
Well, we would look at the color scheme too. I mean, I could think of a reddish color that probably wouldn't work there. That is approved. So, once you get into a third color,
Wayne via text is wanting to make a motion to deny pending paperwork and a clear understanding of what color is going where.
Well, that was going to be my question, like, is the painting going to happen in the next
He's,
month?
he's thinking of painting this coming week.
It doesn't seem to be an issue, like something we would have a problem with just inherently looking at it. Problem I have is what Wayne says, is like, we can't just approve stuff on the fly.
I would like to have some documentation to show what we are approving.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy to help you out and get things rolling, but if we're approving something, we really need to know what we're approving.
if we were to approve this as submitted, and if he wants to add a third color, he needs to let us know what color and where.
I think it's already been approved.
Yeah,
Those colors were already approved.
this is an almost finished house,
In the past, you have done an email vote
but
where you do it via email and then approve it on the next meeting. So he would need to submit the correct paperwork with everything. It would need to be distributed to you, and then y'all would need to vote via email. And then on the next meeting, you would officially approve it.
I don't have a problem with that, but I would like to see the color. And if we can, just vote on email after our discussion here and understand what he's talking about, which I think we do. We would like to see the color, and I don't have a problem if we can do that. I'm happy to have the team look at the color and vote on it then, and then make it official in 2 weeks.
And it needs to be, Wayne would like to interject that it needs to be submitted tomorrow by the end of the day. So there's time to review it.
that's fair enough.
You good with that?
Yeah,
Okay.
It seems like a good compromise. The majority of the painting can proceed, and then just don't paint the eaves until you get approval.
right.
Sounds like it.
He doesn't like the double latte up there?
Well, he just wants to add a little touch,
I can understand that.
you know, just a third color, that's all.
All right, well, thank you for describing that, and we'll look for that color and let you know as soon as we all decide on it.
So is this going to come in the form of an application that we'll just,
Email, construction change request.
Yes,
got it? Thank you.
something that we can put our names on.
John, you and I need to talk in the morning.
Okay. On the culvert, what form do I use for that?
Construction change request.
Okay.
Thank you, John. All right. Okay. Item 5.
Hey, Keith. Go ahead and unmute and say hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hi, Keith. Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi. How's it going? No, she just said unmute and say hello, so I did.
Okay. All right, yeah, we just got started on item 5. 10 Valley View Circle. This is a new construction.
You're gonna do 10 first?
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening.
Hello. Can we refer to you as Jay?
Sorry, yeah, I go by J, just the letter J.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Sorry, are we doing 5?
Yeah, 10 Valley View. One of the first questions we had was the direction of the driveways.
Yes.
It's sort of opposite of the flow of traffic there.
Yeah, there's unfortunately nothing we can do about that, given you guys have seen it, the slope. The bigger issue, what we wanted to do was do one entrance and then kind of go in a Y shape, but the issue is that there's, I don't know if it's a power box or what it is, it's on a concrete pedestal.
That was between the lots, right?
Yes, so that really screwed up our plans, which would have been ideal, but unfortunately, this is where we ended up, kind of forced into. But I think it'll work. An example, and I know you guys aren't super big fans of what else has been done in other places, but 12 Green Hill has a similar thing going on where the flow of traffic to the right. 3 Green Hill, that's right. 3 Green Hill when you're headed down the road around the corner, you've got to kind of make a hard right into it and then back down into it. It works, but it wasn't our first choice. It's kind of where we had to do it.
So that's all parking in the front there, right? Is that
Yes, so that's part of our proposal is.
parking and then the pedestrian bridge and
Yep, that's correct.
a driveway that goes under the bridge?
Yep.
Okay. Now, we had trouble seeing the layout of the house on the lot.
Yeah, I checked it myself as far as flags, stakes. I was there on Saturday. What did you guys have? Did you have a hard time seeing?
We saw the property lines,
Hmm?
but it was hard to tell where the actual structures would be.
Yeah, it is staked, and I checked that myself. I'm positive because it was raining. It was miserable.
Hmm.
But yeah, I assure you, the stakes are there. Property lines are strong on the sides. And I think as you guys like to see, the front deck and the rear deck are denoted in a different color spray paint.
It also looked like on the 10 Windward on would I think it'd be the northeast corner of the property. There was a really sizable tree there that was flagged for removal, and it looked like it was actually in Sudden Valley right away.
Oh, that big tree out front? Hmm.
Yeah, on the property line.
I think that's on 8 Valley View.
Oh yeah, that's a different property.
That's correct.
Yeah, I'd be happy to address that when we get to 8 Valley View for sure.
Which one is? Okay, that was 8 then. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, one of the other concerns, because of the height of this house, those lights in the eaves may not work, especially since you'll be so much higher than a lot of the surrounding houses are
I
behind
know.
you. So that may be an issue.
Got it. But can I ask which surrounding houses?
The houses behind?
Are there houses behind?
Down below.
Way down the hill, yes.
Oh, you're talking on the back side. Got it.
Correct.
Yes. Okay, got it. So this would be effectively what's the taller side of the house as we slope downhill. There are neighbors below us. Got it.
What happens when the lights burn out? You're 50 feet.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, so lights in the eaves, if that's an issue, that's something we certainly could ditch. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Another thing we thought of is wall-mounted sconces, something like that. So
Yeah, that might be a more effective.
down,
Mhm.
brought it down, and then the light radius would be less because
Yeah.
it's
Right. Yep. Yeah, I'd be happy to make accommodations for that, especially on that backside. I think you've all got really good points. I haven't figured out how to change a light bulb with a drone yet, so that's reasonable.
Yeah, it looks like you have sconces here.
There's a comment from Wayne. I know you guys are doing lights, but I just saw it. Item 5, not comfortable with the pedestrian pass over the bridge as it poses a structural issue.
Well, it's been structurally engineered by an engineer and it's been approved by, the county has went through review and our structural engineer has approved it. And it's the same detail that we used, and I apologize again, on 3 Green Hill. It's the same pedestrian walkway over driveway connecting to the house.
Where does the walkway tie back into? Does it tie into that retaining wall?
There's like a substructure of, yeah, kind of attached to, the area around the retaining wall.
His comment is that it's just strange.
It's just strange. Some it's strange. I think it's awesome personally. I really like the pedestrian walkway look. I think it's, I guess what we do is we're more on the modern side of building.
I'm just curious, this is a kind of on
Could you
top.
put that picture up so we're looking at the bridge while you're talking about it?
Must be cute.
Is this
Do you have,
typical?
do you have like a little signs like vertical height, vehicles driving down in there? I mean, is that a safety issue or anything?
N-
It's
No,
a non-issue. I'm just curious.
yeah, I don't think it'll be an issue because that is actually, it's a pretty steep drop there. It's gonna be a considerable distance and then the slope of the driveway going down, while it doesn't exceed the maximum, it's pretty steep too.
Like a 10-foot or 15-foot?
Yeah, I think the top, I think from the, it's gonna be somewhere between 10 and 11 feet as far as I know.
Thank you.
And we have had engineering done for that as well.
He's concerned about the seismic event and what
Yes.
might happen.
Yeah, that was a
Engineered
big
for that.
concern when we gave this to our structural engineer as well, and it's been engineered for code for seismic.
He also says it's 12.5 feet,
The retaining wall? Yep,
the height, I think.
yes, okay, there you go. 12 feet, so, I mean, unless you're anything, full bus, RV, which wouldn't fit in the garage anyways, I think we'll be okay.
These driveways are all 22% slope too. They're
Yes.
just within the guidelines, but that's going to be a pretty tight turn and get down into the driveway. These cars are going to be parked on the side of the road in the wintertime.
Yeah, it's Sudden Valley. It kind of
Well,
fits with the
we
name.
could request that there be a grooved driveway just to make it safer. Because that is that could be treacherous. And we have we speak to a lot of residents who complain about their driveways as they are, even the straight ones,
Mhm.
steep like this. So that might be something we'll have to require.
Group driveway,
Yes.
I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Says the owners will be looking
Finish.
for an elevator later.
Thanks.
The driveway may not be passable in certain times in the winter months, but there is the pedestrian walkway from the street level, so
Yes, absolutely.
The parking that's shown on the 5 of 16, item 5, page 5 of 16. That parking, is that all in the property footprint? That's not in
Um,
Sudden Valley footprint?
Yeah, so that is in the right of way.
Parking by the road, that is in the right of way. Yep.
So we're being
Including
asked,
the retaining wall that it would require.
I believe the retaining wall is right on the edge. Yeah, this depicts the retaining wall in the right of way.
so part of this request is to put this parking area and the retaining wall in Sudden Valley right away?
Yeah, and we're prepared to work with Mike Brock on that after approval. That we've done that before, and we would of course, I think we have to sign a thing, and we accept responsibility for maintenance of it in the future. So Mike and the SVCA maintenance team aren't on the hook for maintaining our parking area, which we're very comfortable with.
Who's responsible for that then? The builder or the owner of the home?
It
Does that
would,
transfer to the ownership?
yes,
So that gets recorded, does that get recorded like an easement against the property?
yeah, I believe so. Is that right, Joel?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would seem to be pretty important to record that as an easement so that
Mm-hmm.
it's documented by the county that the Sudden
Mhm.
Valley gave them permission to have that theirs and it's not
Yeah.
somehow prescriptively.
They're
pushed.
they're actively doing it on another property
Okay.
that has retaining walls built in the right of way.
So yeah, that would be a little bit problematic. The retaining wall on Sudden Valley property, a legal issue too. So if we did approve that, it would be contingent on an attorney review.
Sudden Valley.
Sudden Valley attorney review.
can I ask if the committee's got any comments about Page 5, item 6, about the stormwater being pumped uphill. I think we had.
Are we on
questions about
5 or
that.
6? Are you doing both together?
We're just
Thought
on.
we were
item
on.
five.
Okay, it's the same in terms of the question that I'm posing.
Okay.
Sorry, trying to keep it straight here in the notes.
So we're on item 5.
Sorry, yes.
Which page, John?
5, let me look real quick. I think it's the same. Should be. Yeah, page 5. Page 5, lower right-hand corner, it says stormwater outlet option 2, treated and stormwater from filtration trench to be pumped up to the outlet into existing ditch in the Valley View, Valley View Circle.
Yeah, Jay, you want to talk to us about that?
Yep, sure thing. It's a little complex, but where we're at right now is in order for, it's kind of a, it's a bit of a catch-22 with, what the county wants to see. As the owners, our first preference is to be able to take both of these lots. And, so if you're looking downhill, we've got 8 and 10 Valley View. Well, the one on the left, what we'd like to do is take that stormwater in the sewer and we'd run it across the back of our property that we're building right next to it, which is the one on the right. And then as you can see in this picture here, we're proposing that we cross SVCA Greenbelt and connect to the manhole, which Lake Whatcom Water and Sewer has stated is, according to the original plat, that's where sewer's supposed to go. We are currently working with Joanne Jensen and the board of directors to get, to be able to address this and get permission on a case-by-case basis to be able to do that. And that is our first initial preference, to be able to do it this way. Whatcom County is waiting for SVCA to approve permission to do that, and then they will give us a thumbs up that everybody's on board for the same thing, and we'll make sure that all the maps match up. Once that's approved, we do, however, recognize that as a fail-safe, in the event that for some reason the Sudden Valley Board of Directors does not approve that option as option 1, we have option 2 as a backup, which is filtration trench at the bottom, pump up to the road and out, which is not our preference, but it's doable.
Is the has the
Wayne
county approved
has,
that? Sorry, has the county approved that option 2? Have they said option 2 is a,
They have approved both, but they're waiting for, they won't say, okay, go ahead and do option 1 until we get official SVCA approval to cross that parklands.
so if SVCA says no dice on option 1, the county will look at option 2,
Yes.
but they haven't approved it yet.
Nope, but they will.
Wayne,
Did you guys see my hand up or no?
yeah, I see it. Sorry.
Go
Yeah, I
ahead.
want to chime in on that. So that has been approved for his rear option, discharge option for the sewer system. But what wasn't approved necessarily was the stormwater to also be allowed out the back of the property. There's no reason, in my opinion, and you guys, of course, have jurisdiction on that. There's no reason, in my opinion, why he cannot. It's in the same trench. He's going to be using the same trench for that. So we did approve it. The board did approve it for lots 8 and 10. That has been approved for the rear sewer. That has not been approved for the stormwater. That's only because it wasn't part of the plan. But again, like I said, there's no reason why the stormwater, it should go that way, to be quite honestly. It's always better for gravity, right? It's going to flow downhill instead of trying to pump uphill. And then if you look across the street from Valley View Circle, they're going to be pumping into a ditch that is actually a horrible ditch. It's in need of some repair. And then when he parked up there to do his staking and stuff like that, the ditch, it needs repair. So that was something I was actually going to say, when they get done with their construction, I think they should also repair the ditch on the other side of Valley View Circle, because that's going to be eaten up by construction vehicles and whatnot over time. That was it. That was my 2 cents on that particular part.
So who would determine how that repair is done? Would he be working with Mike on that?
Yes, absolutely. For both of these, for the ditch across the street, because it is Sudden Valley's right of way. And then also for the, he's going across his 2 lots in the back, which is fine, right? There's that easement for that. But then he does cross in that little green strip in the back there, where that pipe comes across and then goes out toward the street. Yeah, right there. That is going across Sudden Valley, green space. They call it a park, but it's just green space. So my only concern with that is I'll be honest, there's already a system in there now, I know. You're planning on, I don't know if are you trying to tie into the existing system that's there? Or are you gonna try to run all 2 new lines out to the street?
Are we talking about the existing system that runs through the parkland?
Well, there's right now from 4 Valley View Circle, I know that's where our stormwater and our sewer runs out that way in the same area you're gonna try to go out.
Oh, yeah, no, our proposal as you see it submitted here is for an independent system.
Perfect. Okay, that's something I want to clarify and make sure, because I don't assume our system wasn't designed to have others attached to it. So I just wanted to make sure that. And then that was it for me. So that was my 2 cents on that. And of course, it's up to to you guys to decide if that's cool. I think it's better than trying to pump up. And like I said, that ditch across the street, water sits in there right now. It's like stagnant water. It doesn't flow anywhere. So pumping more water up there, I think would be a mistake, in my opinion.
So if that happens to be the option, we would request that Mike Brock help design how that's mitigated.
Yeah, so Mike Brock and I and Joanne and Tyler, we all kind of worked together on getting this for 8 and 10 done. And then they are paying, there's a fee that they're going to pay for that easement to be recorded and stuff like that, that they've agreed to. All that has to be finalized, but I'm just letting you know, it has been kind of all been approved. It's just getting everything finalized together, but it has been approved for what they want to do, with the exception of that stormwater, like I said. So either you could allow them to go ahead and use the same trench for the stormwater, or you could make them pump it across the street, which I don't think that would be good.
So I think that maintenance contingency should apply to both 8 and 10.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. And then my concern was, so when you're going through the Sun Valley Park thing, and I wanted to bring this up to Mike, so this is being recorded. My concern is Sun Valley is responsible for their trees, right? And all those park spaces. And you guys all know Sun Valley's tree removal, hazardous trees, was in the $200,000 range last year. So when we're allowing someone like this to go through here, through our park space, and they're going to be trenching, there's very good possibility that some of these trees are in bad shape already. And then trenching next to them is going to make the trees are going to die probably within a couple, 3 years or so. I don't want Sudden Valley to be responsible for the money to remove those trees that we know this may kill. It may or may not, depending on where he's trenching at. But I would like Mike to be very cautious of that. And then we should require this builder or developer to remove whatever trees that will be ruined by this.
Yeah, so anything in the green space that's affected by the drainage construction should be considered for the trees need to be cleared out if they are damaged.
Yes, I think, yes, it should be taken down and repaired in whatever best shape they could leave it in.
I think that's reasonable.
Did the board consider requiring an arborist report when they granted the easement, the approval of the easement? So if there was, before they could trench, they needed to get an arborist report to address that potential tree damage.
Yeah, when I asked that question at the board meeting, they said Mike was going to be overseeing that. I'm not sure if an arborist report is a part of that or not.
No, so if that's up to you guys. So ACC would decide if you want an arborist. That's what we used to do. So we could put the onus on this developer that, hey, we want an arborist report that the trees that you're trenching next to have not been damaged, or they do need to come down. An arborist would tell you one way or another typically. And yes, you can put that onus on this as one of the conditions.
So it sounds like if I'm understanding this correctly, the board's already approved the agreement to bring the water out the back end and not have to pump it back up. Is that right?
That is correct. The board has already approved for the sewer water to gravity out the back of the property. That has been approved.
But not the stormwater. Stormwater.
That is correct. Stormwater wasn't brought up at that time. And so, yes, the sewer line was approved, but in construction wise, and he'll probably tell you too, they're gonna use the same trench are you not using the same trench?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be the same trench. The sewer should be underneath, the stormwater up top, and then that's how it's gonna go out. And so they're gonna use the same trench. They're already digging the trench. That's why I say to me, it just made sense to go ahead and double it up and run them both out of there.
So your preference would be to also route the stormwater out the back.
Yes, sir.
I'm looking at the builder too.
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely, yes.
All right.
Wayne has a comment that just build a swell, not the other pump proposal. Who is going to maintain if the pump fails? I'm not sure what, it was a while back before this all went down.
Yeah, the homeowner would be responsible, but if he doesn't maintain it or gets plugged up or something happens, then the guys right above it that are gonna get the cause and effect of that damage.
Yeah, where's your stormwater collection system?
On this home,
Yeah, where is that?
yeah, it is, what we typically do for these is and I think it's noted on the plan, it's a trench. But
Oh,
we do our filtration trench.
so it's right there under the deck?
Wayne says it's a big insurance risk.
To pump up?
He's typing.
Okay,
Yeah, it's like having a sump pump in your basement.
Yeah.
It goes out.
Yeah.
Goes bad on you. You're in trouble. Only in this case, the basement is the neighborhood.
yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Not an ideal lot to build on.
So one other question I have, and I know it's not really necessary concern, is your propane tank location. You know, that's very steep right there. How are you proposing that they service that propane tank? And you do have a retaining wall that's holding your driveway up, that your bridge is going across, so you got to get under your bridge.
Yep.
You're holding that dirt back there against Valley View, so that's got to be a retaining wall there on the edge of the driveway. So how are you proposing to get to the propane tank to service that?
Yeah, well, I measured it and it looked like, because I have a buddy who services propane, and I was like, okay, your hoses, how long can
How big's your hose? How long is it?
according to him, and I know this isn't official or anything, he said, well, it's a long run, but we can do it. So I think it's doable. It may not be the most ideal location, but what I don't want to do is I also don't want to throw it up in a spot where, of course, we'd screen it, but
I know, where else, right?
tanks.
Is there natural gas available?
No, I don't believe there is anywhere.
Well, I have natural gas.
I live like 5 houses away and I got natural gas.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Grandview Lane, we have natural gas.
Yeah, and I have natural gas at 4. It stops though at my house. So it was brought up here and it teed off and then came to my house and stopped. So
Gotcha.
it dead ends on the opposite side of my house. So
Could it be extended?
At a much greater cost, I'm sure. I would love to do natural gas if it was in the street, but in this case,
Well, I mean, you're only Keith's house is right next door, so
sorry, Keith, did you say it stops at your place right next
it
door?
does. That's correct.
Keith, you have natural gas?
I do.
Interesting. It's a consideration. I didn't know that we were that close.
Yeah, I'm at 4. So you're at 8. So I have 4 and 6. You're at 8 and 10. So 4 and so it stops though before it stops right at my meter. My meter's on the north side of my house. So the farthest away from your properties, of course.
Okay, got it.
And that's where it stops at. So you would have to go underneath my driveway, down my front yard, then across the other lot, and then that would reach your lot 8, 10. And then you'd have to go to, that would get lot 8, and then you'd have to go to 10 from there.
I might file that under cost prohibitive, although I would love to have a natural gas option. Propane's gonna be much more.
Yeah, cost effective.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not living, you're just a flipper, right? You're selling this.
We will be selling it, absolutely.
Yeah.
More from Wayne. If the pump fails, the other owners will sue. Design a swell to soak the stormwater for 8 hours until the pump rate reaches stability, and use French drains that would feed under the other properties.
Or put stormwater in the trench we're already digging.
So if I want to get to the stormwater thing, if Sudden Valley has already approved the connection for the wastewater, then what would be required to do the stormwater in the same area?
Pipe. We're already.
That's your preference though, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we'd love to put it in the same, it's low, it's the lowest impact all overall to the site at large and also the neighbors below. Lowest impact, lowest risk.
So could we make our approval of this, if we do go that direction, contingent upon the stormwater option gravity flow and not pump back up? So if
So not even consider the pump up.
no, we say no dice on the pumping the stormwater back up. You can build it if you can drain the stormwater out gravity. And then if you're going to do that, we could require the arborist report for tree damage before continuing with that trenching.
I think if ACC is gonna approve this contingent upon the stormwater gravity fed and not be allowed to pump up, but then the board doesn't grant an easement through that parkway, then he's stuck.
The easement has been granted,
Yeah, the easement for the stormwater through the park has been granted?
not for the stormwater, for the sewer.
Correct.
So the conversation I had is that with Joanne is that she doesn't know construction or whatever. So I told her, I said, look, the sewer line, we've already approved it. If they want to run the stormwater, it's going to run in the same trench. There's no reason why we shouldn't allow that. And that's, that's us, but it's up to you and it's up to Mike Brock. Mike's in agreement with that. So I know Mike's going to say that's fine with him. So it's really up to the ACC. And then the other issue is it is more problematic, of course, to pump uphill, right? So you're trying to pump stormwater up instead of just letting it run naturally downhill. And so, and like I said, mine already runs down back in the back, right through that same area, right where he's going to run through. That's where our stormwater, I have a stormwater collection system and it drains out that way. And that's where our sanitary sewer runs out the same way. So they got it approved for this house is what I'm saying, both of them. So stormwater and sanitary sewer runs out the same place he's going to run as, well, not exactly the same place, but through the same SVCA park stretch.
So I guess I'm unclear about where the water goes if it's pumped uphill and what happens to it.
Well, so when you pump it uphill, the stormwater right now, it would pump across the street and sit. It would, it's going to gravity feed someplace it's supposed to, right? That water up there isn't supposed to sit stagnant like it does. But right now it hasn't been maintained in years. And so it's kind of filled up with a bunch of crap. And so water sits in there probably a foot or so deep. It doesn't overflow the street and flood and cause that kind of problem. So eventually it does drain out, but it's flooded right now. If you went up there right now, it's full of water. And then he's going to pump more water up there. So it's just creating, to me, a bigger problem.
It doesn't sound like a sustainable solution.
Exactly. So that's why, to me, it's better just to let it, we need to address that ditch across the street. That's why I would like this developer, since he's doing 2 lots there, to address that ditch across the street. It's a good way for Sudden Valley to get that ditch tidied up when he's done with construction, because it's going to be a mess when he's done. He's going to be, 2 years, probably, 1.5 years at least, 2 years. And then that trench is just going to be destroyed over there from the construction traffic. Because that's the only place to park is in that ditch. There's no parking over there for construction currently. And we're on a very narrow street and a very steep downgrade, as you can see.
This proposed site plan has both options on there.
That's correct.
So if I'm reading this is the catch basin here and gravity out this way, back up across the street.
Yep, that's correct.
More from Wayne. He says, get a proper water engineer. I'm abstaining from item 5 as submitted because it lacks a water engineer review and easement provided the stormwater because we do not know the volume and rate. My perspective is based on as a homeowner downhill.
Gotcha. Volume and rate for what? If I could clarify.
Volume and rate is all he says here.
Gotcha.
For the stormwater. Because of the rain, I'm guessing he means the rain. You don't know how much rain is gonna.
Yep, I gotcha. So a little background detail. The title block on this is Axe Engineering. So I'm Jay Young. I'm actually the business development manager for Axe Engineering. My business partner is Aaron Russell, who is the PE stamp on this civil engineering document here for the stormwater plan. I'm guessing we do probably 98% of the stormwater plans in Sudden Valley. You guys probably see this title block a lot. I don't know what we could really do to get a water expert involved because we are the experts for certainly Sudden Valley. I hate to toot my own horn, but I'm inclined to say Whatcom County as well when it comes to stormwater design. I don't like to, again, I don't want to toot my own horn, but we
Toot
are,
away.
I'm sorry, I don't, but, you know, to be clear,
Yeah.
we're talking about, you know, flow rates, stuff like that. A residential home, it's any of the sizing, it's going to be well below what the system can handle. And the other kind of weird part about this is, you know, as Keith has stated, if we were to pump uphill and get into that ditch, it's not only stagnant, but I'm pretty sure if you trace out where it'll end up, it actually ends up in the same spot. So,
Back where it came from.
well, downhill.
Downhill, yeah.
Downhill where we are outletting the stormwater, ultimately in option 1, which is going out the back, that stormwater, if we were to pump up, go uphill under the street into the ditch, and then hope that the ditch is effective, which it's clearly not. If it were effective, it would ultimately end up in the same spot as just letting it gravity feed downhill.
More from him is the model the volume and tell me pump sized against it. New Orleans failed Katrina twice.
Yep.
But this is a proposed site plan that's stamped and signed by a registered civil engineer in the state of Washington that includes the stormwater drainage, right?
Yes.
I don't know what more you could get than this, actually. I mean, I'm a water expert, actually am, and I can't top this. This is stamped by a certified engineer. This is all you could do, I think.
Are you concerned about what the water does when it travels up and then back down again? What are the issues there?
Yeah, I don't like that at all. I think it's a huge liability for the community to have all the stormwater in that area try to get pumped back up. All you need is a plugged drain, or, you know, we've never had it before where power goes out during a storm here, have we?
Oh, that would be wild.
Yeah. So
That's my concern. I mean,
I would definitely, if I were to be okay with this proposal or this application, it would have to be using that option of gravity flow for the stormwater, not the other way around.
that's how I feel.
I think I would like to just take that pump thing off the table. And if the builder's got to work with Sudden Valley to get an additional easement, then that's what they got to do. And if they can't get that, then
Yeah. And
they're-
that's
they're back
typical
to-
with both of these lots, correct?
Typical of both these lots.
Both they both have an uphill
Yes.
sign also?
Yeah, you're gonna see the same, effectively the same proposal with option 1 and option 2 on the other stormwater design for 8 Valley View when we get to it, the other lot adjacent to it.
He says, is there enough power to feed the pump?
Should be. I don't really want to do a pump, so I'm hoping I hope we don't get there.
I just want to echo Dan's comments that I agree with, particularly because I think if we need to take the 30,000-foot view. This house is going to be 10, 20, 30 years old someday, and what are the conditions that the new owners and or tenants or whomever is living there, and that they're going to take good care of this rather, it seems, elaborate pumping system.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, I think that system is off the table, and that's something we would consider. It would have to be the solution that you work with Sudden Valley. It just sounds like that would be very problematic, and that's not something you want to leave with one of our new neighbors. So we do have any other issues that we've got quite a few little contingencies we've already discussed. Anything else?
Wayne says he doesn't have any other comments.
Okay.
Well, I had, so my issues, I'm just gonna go over my list real quick. I know you discussed some already, but it's really hard to hear you guys, some of you guys. So my issue was the lighting in the eaves. And this is more for 8 and 10, but 8 for me, because I'm gonna live by that.
Yeah.
And then my concern, I had other concerns on the next house, but not this design. It's a nice design on this house. I like it. The driveway orientation, he said that was by design. I thought it might have been by mistake. Because our street runs from north to south, and those driveways run the opposite direction. I realize that's going to be difficult, but that's their choice.
Yeah, that was answered with that the terrain dictated the direction of the driveway, correct? I did that.
Yeah, they need that slope. So the other concern I had was the ditch or swale that were across the street from Valley View Circle, that I'd like to see that repaired to, whether that's, you guys should say what it has to be, you're going to rip wrap it or put burlap in it or what you want it to be like, but that's something that should be addressed when this developer leaves. My other concern was the house itself was not strong, so I could not see where the house footprint was. I did see the stakes there. I did know he staked it, but I could not see the being strong, and I thought that was a requirement. So that was disappointing.
I didn't see it.
The fifth concern I had was the trees in the SVCA right away. I want to make sure we're not going to have to remove those trees in 3, 2, 1 year, 5 years, whatever. I don't want to have to SVCA have to pony up the money for that. If we're allowing him to use that easement and to put his sewer lines and storm line in there, then he should take care of any damage down there and remove any trees that might be damaged. The other concern I had, not so much for this one, because I didn't look at this one so much. This would be item number 6 for me, was the height. It's more so on the other one. Use that type 2 for the height, and I am trouble seeing how that height. These houses are close to 50 feet tall in the back, especially 8. That's huge. So I just wanted, the height was something I was concerned about, and then that was it.
Well, I could tell you the height is a reason we're looking at the height of this.
This one, yeah, this one's different. I didn't look at this one too much.
The reasons why we're considering that change, because we're looking at like 4 stories. It looks like 4 stories from the back, and with the lighting pointing down, we've already mentioned that
Yeah.
can't happen with this elevation.
So
It's the building
Talking
window.
about 10 or 8 right now.
can you raise this elevation up so I can see down? So see right here, you're showing 19, 2 3/4, right, to that line. Go up now.
That's correct.
Yeah, there you go. Make it smaller so we can see. So highest final grade within 10 feet of the house. But yet, below that, you see final grade in a dash line down below that, like 10 feet down below that, or 20. Is this like going to be fill dirt from the final grade that's below here you see it down below your green where you just highlighted that green? Go down below and there's a dash line that says final grade.
So this
Yes.
higher grade, this
So if that says final grade, and then
That's
over here on the left, it says existing grade, is this all fill dirt from the final grade to this? I don't understand how they got this highest final grade.
that 528, that's on the right side of the house. And this final grade is on the left side of the house. Is that
Yeah, I believe that's correct.
That's from the other side?
Yeah, well, we gotta come, like, if you think about it, the way
Okay.
the way the driveway comes in, it ends up being higher on one side of the house than it is the other.
So you're saying that is accurate?
Yeah. As far as accuracy goes, yeah, I believe Joel has checked it and it matches up.
So there will not be fill dirt on that, or there will?
Oh, sorry, I don't understand the question exactly.
Will you be filling in the dirt to get to that final grade? To get to that height definition?
I don't think so.
Joel, do you understand what I was asking?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, so we're on the left side of the house here.
Okay, yeah, so show what you were saying. So I can't see who's talking so at times, so that's why I was just.
So he's got this retaining wall here, and then down here it's sloping down toward the house. So he'll have a lower finished grade here at this bottom corner. Right, if you look at the perspective views here, down on that left side, right, it's dipping down. It's lower than it is over here on the right side. Oop. over here. Oops. Where'd we go? Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm dropping here.
I was just confused by the drawing. It looked to me like they're bringing in fill dirt, and I know better than that. Fill dirt's, why would you bring that? They're putting a retaining wall in. You certainly wouldn't bring fill to put dirt in, but it's like weird.
Right.
I didn't get that, how it looks. But it shows like dirt like hitting the balcony there, the deck or something. That's why I didn't understand what they're getting where this is.
Or that's is that that's your driveway?
I don't know what that is.
On the right side.
Slopes? Or sorry, Joel, what are you pointing at?
Oh, that 528 feet elevation.
Yeah, look at 517.2. You show final grade down here at 517.2. Here's my final grade.
Mhm.
And then you go up to 520.614. That says over to the left, it says existing grade. So your final grade, you've taken it down a little bit, but then you go up to your height elevation, and all of a sudden it's way up here, and it says it's 20 feet from there. But your final grade is 10 feet below that.
Okay, so let's go.
Well, I don't know what that is. Is that filter brought in there, or am I looking at it wrong?
Let's go to the right side elevation.
There you go.
This might explain it a little bit better.
There you go.
Right, so that final grade you're talking about is down.
Yeah, see, then he's freaking 30
down
feet high
here.
from there. He's not
But-
20 feet.
Yeah, but this is all retained up here.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So then this final grade thing really isn't final grade. Or is it?
Yeah,
And they're bringing in filter
I mean,
here.
I guess this final grade is the driveway elevation.
Yes.
Is that right?
That's the perspective we've been looking at it from. We're calling final grade driveway on that right side. And it is fully retained. And then on the left side, you know, you've got that other, the lower section, which is behind yet another section that's retained. So
Yeah, but you can't use your driveway as a final grade, can you? When the house goes another floor below that?
well, I mean, that's where you drive. That's a driveway. That's where you drive in. I mean, it's
So is that a big wall behind holding the driveway up?
Yeah.
So that's a big drop at that point.
yeah.
And what would that drop be?
This one we're looking at right here.
Looks like about 9.
And keep in mind, that's where the propane tank's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Somehow. And serviceable.
Yeah, I'm happy to move the propane tanks. That's something we can easily sort out. I'm not worried about that. But, you know, to answer your question on this, there's some big retaining walls on this. That's for sure.
Joel, do you?
We show those retaining walls as.
Yeah, we do.
You show them. So then my question is, I guess for Joel, would you consider that to be the final grade to make his house work?
Yeah,
When actually the final grade is that floor below it is actually the final grade.
Yeah, I mean, we have measured from the driveway before. That's as the highest point of your final grade.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's been
It's
our,
a stretch.
well, I do understand where you're coming from, Keith. It is, I will say it's a little stretchy, but, the entire design is based around
Yeah.
trick, which is the target sort of the standard we've been held to on, you know, the rest of the homes we've done. I mean, if this is something that's going to change in the future, you know, we could absolutely do what we need to do to observe it in the future, but we're here today.
Well, I tell you the biggest thing, so we get a lot of feedback is on the height of houses now. So we realize the lots are getting harder to develop, right? They're smaller and the lots that are left are probably morally undesirable. And then so you're limited on your footprint. And so the idea is, well, we can only do 1,000 square foot footprint, but we go up 4 stories, get a 4,000 square foot house out of it. So that's the problem. We're getting a lot of feedback from neighbors complaining, hey, these houses are monstrous. They're like extremely way too tall. And a lot of people have, you know, single story or 2-story houses that are, you know, 24 foot tall. They're not 40 foot tall. you know, and this one's like 50 in the back, or I know the other one is. So that's way up there.
Yeah, even the height definition is pushing the limit.
What's
Well,
the,
that's it. So the way he did his height definition to me is almost not correct, but Joel is correct in that, in saying that we've used the driveways before, and maybe that's something we need to look at, because you got a whole floor that's going underneath this driveway, actually. There's a whole house underneath this driveway. So using the driveway as a final grade really kind of isn't true, because the final grade would be, to me, the bottom of the house. You know, so it's still correct, I guess, in how he did it, but it is stretchy. Like he said, it's stretchy.
Yeah.
what's the building window in Whatcom County? Isn't like, don't you have to build within a certain time? And
Yeah.
Lake Wacom watershed, you have till June 1st, to October 1st.
Till October
building
31st.
this year?
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely.
But to get your foundation in place and backfilled and soil stabilized.
Right, you can do the other construction outside of that, but then site
Correct.
disturbance has to be done by October 1. Yeah. Seems like we got a lot of questions and contingencies that are we just gonna go forward and say tentative yes, pending this, and this, or do we ask them to come back and address, here's the issues we need you to address, and then come back?
You know, I think a lot of things have come up in this meeting, and I wouldn't feel comfortable listing these contingencies. You know, maybe if there's one, that would be fine, but I've got a whole list of things here that we need to look at, an arborist report, and then Diane has to write all this up. I think we really need to look at this and talk about how this is going to work. We're still talking about drainage, lights,
Retaining walls.
Yeah, well, I think, I would be willing to concede on pretty much everything you guys have written up. I mean, my list looks the same.
No, I think you're very amenable, and it's a nice conversation we're having.
Yeah.
We probably need to find out where we stand on all these things before we talk to you about it again. But yeah, I mean, appreciate working with you.
Mhm.
But maybe some things will be worked out with Sudden Valley, and how you can use the drainage, how you can use the retaining wall. These are still questions that are up in the air, so I wouldn't feel comfortable approving this with all of those things still floating around.
Well, I mean, the lighting's not a big deal. We could do that. I mean, if you want to propose that, like, this is contingent on, even the groove to driveway, like we talked about. To me, it looks like we made great progress.
I think we did.
Yeah.
But I think that these things, I think we need more time to think about this based on what we've discovered from this and from your neighbor talking to us, who is, that's an important voice when we're talking about building near other people. I want to hear what other people have to say about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're getting there. We're close, but I think there are too many unknowns for us to approve this. Any other views on that? Dan, do you?
Oh, I think the reality of the room, man, is if it's forced to a vote today, it's going to be denied. So if we want to get where I think you want to get to, and we'd like to try to get you there, I think we got to take this back and go through that list and have Diane get back to you on these are the things we want to see you address, and come back with a resubmitted application.
Well,
that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I think we would, I would suggest deny as submitted, but the conversation is continuing. I think we're close. But for us to feel comfortable about voting on this, I think we have some questions that we need to answer.
Okay. Just so it's understood, I mean, this is a watershed project. We're already into the watershed season.
It's a difficult lot. We all admit that.
Yeah.
And, this is a pretty wild design. I mean, the driveway and the culverts and the drainage, it's complicated, and we
Yes.
acknowledge that. And we weren't really clear by the way you posted it and the staked it. I didn't really see it. So maybe if you can clarify that too. I think it's a good conversation we're having. I think we're real close, but I think we just need to a little more time to review these things.
Hey, a little more time to you guys is a lot to me, because this is a lot of work went into this design. This has been in the works for 6 to 7 months for us. And I fully respect that it is a complex design, but which is necessitated by the difficulty of building on this lot. And I would have loved to pick a flat lot, but as you guys know, there's nothing left in Sudden Valley that's easy to build on. This is the reality of every builder who walks in this room.
And that's why these conversations are getting longer and longer. After
Yeah.
CAD.
Yeah. Right. So I mean, I guess I'll just ask one more time. Is there anything we could do to get contingent approval tonight?
Committee, how do you feel about that?
I mean, your guys' list.
Well, so
I think
I'll
Wayne
just,
was already abstaining from this vote, so I think it might be to your benefit if we postponed. Who's speaking?
I chimed in. Sorry about that. So I just wanted to clarify. So you're okay with deleting the lighting in the eaves,
Yep,
correct?
that's correct.
All right, your driveway orientation, you mentioned something about driveway. I didn't catch that. You can't change your driveway, right?
Grooving it.
Yeah, no, there was somebody made a comment about grooving the driveway.
Oh,
just-
yeah. Okay, yeah, gotcha. Okay, so the driveway was the orientation was by design, so that was the question I had. And then, you're okay with addressing the ditch and swale across the street after construction? You'd have to address that with Mike Brock.
100%. I think that's something we would do even if you guys didn't ask for it, because it's just gonna look gross and I would feel horrible.
Okay. And then the house not being strong, but it is staked, so we saw that. You're okay with addressing the trees in the SVCA right away?
Yes, if we were to encounter any trees that required, if we, got within whatever that magic number is, 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet, you guys,
Yeah.
we get an arborist report to make sure that it's good to go.
Okay, you would. Okay, and that would be required. That is something that I assume the ACC would put on you as a requirement. And then the height, we're good with the height, right? You guys were okay with that, according to Joel and where he's got it at for this one. It's a stretch. It is a stretch for me too, guys. I get it. This is a very steep lot, but I was just curious about that. So the height seemed okay. And then, so I was just good. So I was just checking off on my list. You seem to be good with everything there, but again,
So talking about
the ACC
the
and
retaining wall for
Yep.
the parking
retaining
space
walls. Let me write that down, retaining walls.
The right of way.
in the right of way.
Which is a SVCA maintenance issue that we would
Yeah.
take Mike Brock, since I gotta do that with him anyways for parking in the right of way.
Well, it's approval of
Retaining
this
wall in
committee.
the right of
Oh,
way.
really? The retaining wall in the, oh, okay.
Parking
Sorry, I
space.
was misunderstanding that.
So I think we've
And
got
the
a list.
stormwater discussion, and then moving the propane tank.
Alan, you were getting ready to say something.
I'm a hard yes on whatever you guys want on all of these things, just so you know.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Not just a hard yes, sir, to whatever you guys want to see on this. You want propane tanks moved? You got it. No problem. As far as that retaining wall in the right of way, I understand. Now, if that is an ACC issue, you guys let me know what you want to see. We can work with it.
I think the process would be to get this list of the things that we want to see, turn that around pretty quick, and hopefully we're having this conversation in our next meeting to approve it then.
Could we do approval by email? So I don't have to wait to the next meeting?
They've never done that on a new construction. It's only
Yeah,
on
this
construction.
is a lot to talk about. If we're just looking at a color, that's pretty easy, but these are complicated issues. And, they go beyond our committee too. I mean, we're talking about maintenance and legal and requiring an arborist. So I understand your time crunch. But I don't want to regret this vote in a month.
Let me ask you something, and sorry, guys, I know it's really none of my thing, but would you, and I don't know why I'm even saying this, could this guy start clearing trees or something like that? Is that even a possibility or no? And I don't even work for him. I'm just asking. Like, if I was trying to do this project, I'd be trying to do something. Could I clear trees or no? That's out of it too.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'd say no. Like,
I
we
think
can't
this
make
could
it
all, we need to just approve this when we're ready, and nothing can happen until then.
I'd like to understand, like on the tree, that one, we were talking about 10, but on 8, there's that tree in Sudden Valley right away. That was the big mothership we looked at.
I think we need to back to the site and look at it again, considering a lot of these things that were talked about.
And this, you mentioned the natural gas. How hard would it be to find that out of curiosity? Like, what is the cost to pull the natural gas down the street a little further?
I
Is
don't,
Something that they'll get back. I don't know how fast the gas companies respond to that.
I don't know. I'd have to, well, then I'd have to work with Keith. And, you know, as he mentioned, it involves actually going through his property to do it. Whereas propane tanks are propane tanks, you know, so that my strong preference is to, if there was natural gas in the street, I'd be all over it. But to extend it is not really preferential to, I think, anybody.
Well, I think that's another thing that our committee will talk about.
Good.
So do we need action on this now?
I think, yeah, we need to make a motion to,
I just want to chime in really quickly. I'm tending to lean in the direction of approval, and for the following reasons. I think we've addressed a lot of the issues here tonight. The ditch remediation, the lights, the height issue seems to have been resolved. Moving the propane, the staking of the house is not an issue for me. So we saw the property, and I get a general idea from the drawings what it, how big it was, the scope of it. I think the drainage in the arborist report is probably, I think we're in agreement, it should all go downhill. And I think what Keith was saying is that his already had permission in those right-of-ways to be drained downhill. Is that correct, Keith?
That is correct. I apparently the letter hasn't gone out yet, but yes, it was approved at the last board meeting.
So I would be tempted to approve option one only for that. And then you'd be sort of in a risky place where if it didn't get approved by SBCA and the arborist had all sorts of red flags, that you're sort of in a really tight spot. So that's my comment about that. And I don't see any other
Retaining walls in the right of way.
the retaining wall.
and that's, you know,
I kind of think that that's an issue that could be resolved, but I don't know how.
yeah, I think your hesitation says it all. I agree that a lot of these things could probably be hashed out right now, but I think I would feel better approving the entire project once I have more answers, especially that retaining wall. That's a big piece of this. Obviously, the drainage, I think we just would not approve the pumping up situation. Were you gonna say something?
Well, Keith, are you there?
Yes, sir.
So the executive board has not approved the stormwater to go downhill. Is there
That is correct.
ACC then approves the stormwater to go downhill as their only option? Will that be re-reviewed by the?
Yeah, so technically, Joel, we're being recorded and stuff. So we already had this conversation, and it was just a matter of confusion for Joanne and of the stormwater issue. So the stormwater will go right in the same trench as the sewer. So he already has the easement for that. That's been approved. It was just a matter of, I talked to Joanne and she said, well, then that doesn't make any difference. I said, that's exactly right. So we'll just let him do it.
Okay, I just want to make sure that,
But keep in mind, it's only for 8 and 10. So this would be reviewed case by case. So right now, 8 and 10, we are saying this is okay. For sure, the board approved the sewer, right? That was gone through the board and everything else. The stormwater is just kind of a secondary thing. It's just something else that's going to go in the trench. It's really not a big deal. It doesn't take any more land. It's not requiring any additional easement work or anything else like that.
right, I just want to make sure that ACC doesn't say send your stormwater downhill, and that's your
Yeah. No, I got you. Yeah. And then we say no.
That's what I'm hearing as well. It's
Yeah, no, we're already in agreement technically on it. So If
No,
it has to go back to the board, it would go to the board. I mean, it could, it doesn't need to, but if we wanted to, we could take it back to the board, but it's not an issue at this point.
Does Sudden Valley grant an easement then to move, did Sudden Valley grant an easement to move the wastewater?
We did. We already granted the easement.
But does that easement need to be redone or clarified? I mean, if it's a recorded easement, it'll,
It's gonna be, it has to be recorded and everything else. So we already had legal, our Sudden Valley legal already drew it up. So it's already drawn up, and then they will pay, the developer will pay the recording fees and so forth.
right, but it can't, it needs to, the easement would be specific to, if the easement is specific to wastewater,
Sure, yeah, yeah. in a
Sure.
sense.
then it would have to be amended to include, I mean, from a landowner standpoint, you can't just, let's just throw a stormwater in the same trench. You got a recorded easement. It needs to spell out what's in that, what that easement is recorded for and against.
Correct.
Why would we-
And so right now, so like I said, technically it's approved, just I guess document wise it has to be rewritten. But it has been approved. I mean, as far as we don't have a problem with it happening.
Yeah, it sounds like an addendum to clarify what's in the ditch.
Correct. That would be correct. Because it was it was an afterthought. So the wastewater was a for sure thing, and then no one thought about stormwater, and it's like, oh, we want to use the same trench. Of course you do. And then, well, no, we want them to pump it uphill. It's like, why would we do that when you already have a trench and you've been approved for it? So, like you said, it was a matter of not thinking about it at the same time.
Well, that,
Otherwise, it would have said wastewater and storm.
that would seem to be a matter for the board to take up and consider, and Joanne to consider. It's not,
Yeah, it's already, and like I said, we've already talked about it, so it's already been done. It's just something the lawyer has to redraw up the plan now, or to redraw up the agreement.
Board's good for it. I'm good for it, along with whatever else you guys need. I'm feeling really good. I don't know where you guys are at. Hoping we can reach some sort of accord this evening.
I wasn't gonna say anything because I felt I was gonna be in the minority, but with John speaking up, I'm inclined to approve it with the caveats and conditions.
Yep.
I think everybody's pretty flexible.
Super.
There was no irreversible deal breakers here, just time and effort. So,
I'm still of the opinion there's a lot of moving parts on this. It's a very delicate spot to try to build on. Respect. I mean, if there's a building window on this, then this should have been in front of this committee 2 months ago, not today.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I understand you have your timing, but that's not our problem.
Yep, I totally understand.
That's my take on it. Is we're trying to do right by Sudden Valley. I'd rather make sure all these things are, I's are dotted and T's are crossed on a fairly complex building project.
Wayne?
That's my thought.
Wayne has left.
He's left. Okay. Yeah, I kind of concur with you, Dan.
He abstained, so
He abstained.
on 5.
You have any opinions about this? Do you feel like you've got enough answers to make a
I would
decision?
move to deny as submitted because there's way too many questions about really important things that has to be really explained clearer before we can approve this project.
And we could specify what those issues are. Can I get a second on that motion?
I would second it.
All in favor of denying this new construction?
Aye.
Nay. Aye.
I would follow up that with, we're going to get him that list pretty quick of the things that we want to see addressed.
Yes.
Really
Tomorrow.
appreciate that. That would be fantastic. Because every day counts.
Can I get a head count of who said what? Denied was Joe Jean.
Joe Jean made the
and then
motion.
Daniel,
Yes.
and then Alan and John oppose.
Did you oppose?
Correct.
But majority, right, Daniel?
Yes. And I think, Joel, the same issues are typical with 8 Valley View. Is that correct? Is there anything that would mitigate some of these issues we talked about, like retaining wall? Um,
It is,
Are we talking about 8 now?
yeah, we're
Yes.
moving.
Yeah.
Okay, so for 8, the only extra item I had, so all the same items, you're correct. They're all the same scenario. The only additional item I noticed was the rear roof over the decks on there. Like it's just that new Pacific Northwest build. Like it's like a 12 or 15-degree pitch on the roof that goes over the top of the rear deck. But that rear deck has can lights in it for the decking, right? And so those can lights to me would be, if they're on that angle, are going to be shining out over the neighbors' houses behind them.
Yeah, I think Jay's been okay with just removing the
Definitely.
lights on that.
Yep.
On the deck too?
Oh, yeah. If we were to do, I think the intent of can lights in the eave of the deck is they would be counter angled to point down and not out.
I got you. Yeah, like try to. Yeah, I know what you mean. It just doesn't get done that way. I know what you're thinking. I would think that's the way to do it, but you could build it and then those don't get put in.
Yeah, I'm thinking we just nix it completely and do like sconces or something instead for lights on the rear deck instead of,
Yeah.
risking any downshine exposure to the
I
neighbors.
mean, it is cool looking, and I like the new style, but yeah, it's like it doesn't work, especially that high. You're so high in the back.
Well, once you get a house that's that high, a lot of other issues pop up.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
And so that was so I still had the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I guess 8 was the retaining walls.
Yeah.
What was 7 I had?
Then-
The elevation I had for the height, how they got, oh, that was 6, how they got the height.
Okay. For Joel.
So is it all the same points?
Yes.
Yeah.
I might add that, we're back to the,
See that height thing again.
it's page 15, that tree on the easement on the right-hand side. It looks to be healthy when we viewed it, arborists. And it's a really beautiful, large tree. I'm wondering if that needs to be taken down. That's the first question. Then the second was, along the right property line, there appear to be trees that may be sort of dual ownership, and whether those need to come down or not. But I'm just talking about the trees now.
So I would like to address that tree in the front that you're looking at, the one closest to the street.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, that one there. So I had my arborist report actually tag that tree to come down when he looked at my trees, and I told him that's not my tree, so we untagged it. But so that tree is concerned, and I'm only telling you what he said. I agree with you. The tree looks pretty cool, but it's 3 liters, so it breaks off into 2 liters, like I don't know, 6 feet off the ground into 2 liters, and then goes up about 12 feet. Maybe a little longer, and then breaks into another liter. So that's what he was concerned about. And it's right on the street. I mean, it is, I don't know, 6, 8 inches off the pavement.
Is that supposed to be extra parking there too? Parking?
That's why that tree
Oh, I
is
see,
tagged
right.
for removal because it's in the parking area.
Parking area, right.
Yeah, Keith's correct. It literally it abuts almost to the pavement edge.
Yeah, it's right on there.
I didn't understand the original drawing that was going to be parking, and in that case, I understand the need to remove it if that were the case.
Mhm.
Why do we need to remove trees for parking in Sudden Valley right away? I'm just being an antagonist.
I am understanding the request.
Right.
Yes.
Not
Okay.
saying I understand or approve of it.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and I guess what I would back that up with is it's not an arbitrary removal of the tree. The purpose is so that it is part of that parking in
The tree would be removed to increase parking in front of the house.
in the right of way. Yes.
So does this design fall apart if you can't have that street parking?
Well, we would have less street parking. I guess my bigger concern is that if the tree stays, and thank you to Keith, I just learned that if this was previously tagged by an arborist as a hazard tree, it probably should come down.
Now, keep in mind, that was my arborist, my personal arborist that was looking at my trees. He looked at this tree, oddly enough, and a tree across the street from Valley View Circle that he told me needed to come down. Very strange.
There
But
are,
yeah, he told me this tree and another tree. I thought it was odd.
okay. Well, so we got that. And again, like, I mean, whatever, for what that's worth. Does the design fall apart a little bit? Because, if the tree stays, now we've got to stay out of the way of the root system. And the issue is, if we were to make a full circumference around, how far away from that tree we'd have to stay, it's in the road.
Well, my question is, if you can't get approval for that retaining wall and you can't get approval for the drainage to go uphill, what happens?
Well, I think we already talked about drainage for uphill. We could still do it. It's just, I don't think it's a great idea. I think everybody concurs with that it's,
If you don't get permission to go take it downhill, was that approved too? I can't remember.
yes, so,
Yes.
yes. So according to Keith, we've got an easement to take sewer out the back. The proposal is for stormwater to go in the same trench. That's all been agreed with the SBCA Board of Directors. It's, the paperwork's still being processed. So we do an addendum to include stormwater in that same trench for the easement.
We haven't proceeded with that yet, just to be clear. But the conversation I had with the general manager was, yes, that would be okay. And we'd have to proceed with the corrected easement for that. But yes, that has been approved.
Okay, I think that's another thing we need to talk about is the trees and how those will be handled on the property. So that may be something that we need to add to our list of what we talk to him about in the future.
Yeah. What did you want to talk about with the trees?
Which, if that tree does need to be removed, is it because you just need more parking? What if you don't get the parking?
So maybe what they're saying is you need to have an arborist look at that tree yourself. And if your arborist determines it needs to come down, you need to present that to the ACC, is what it sounds like.
Kind of thing that we need to articulate as a committee to continue this conversation, but that's dead on.
Yeah.
So I think we're in the same position as we were with previous item.
Yeah, the only extra thing I want to add to that, Daniel, if I could, was the 2 additional trees that were highlighted there. I think Joel highlighted them in green that are on the neighboring property, lot 6. My concern is that the 18 and the 34-inch, it looks like, unfortunately, they're both cedars that are on the property line, are so close to his footings. I would prefer or ask the ACC that he take these trees down when he puts his footings in here. I just don't want to be responsible for him, 3, 4, 5, 7 years down the road because they're going to die because he, whacked away the roots.
It just adds another complication of what we want to present to Jay as the questions that we have and the things that we're going to be asking him.
Perfect.
It's fair to the committee to compile all of these things at this moment. We'll do that as quickly as possible, and that will definitely be part of the discussion.
Okay, good. And then let me know or send me an email if I need to do something on the stormwater, if you guys need to see something from us for his approval.
I will. I'll keep you up to date on this.
Yeah, let me know if you need something.
Would the trees there, all those trees be subject to an arborist report then? I mean,
I think that's what we need.
because these 2 that Keith is talking about, they are not flagged for removal, right?
Correct, but if the foundation is too close to the root system, he's concerned that the trees will die in 5 years, and then suddenly he has to.
It'd be my liability, right? I'll have to take him down, and yet it was his construction that killed him. So if that's the case, I'd prefer he take him down while doing his construction, while he's got his guys there doing the tree work. Take those down now.
What, does Sudden Valley have an arborist that they use that they require? I mean, can people just go out and go get their own arborist, or is there somebody that you guys say you have to use this?
Choose your own. I mean, they should.
Certified arborist.
Yeah, Sun Valley has a, oh, I'm sorry, yeah, go ahead.
So Joel, what was the, or the distance from the foundation that
To
these
the-
were recommended to be cut?
From an arborist, the gold standard is 1 foot in radius for every 1 inch in diameter at breast height. So both these trees would fall into that area. Yeah, I would recommend an arborist report.
Okay.
I'm inclined to deny the request based on the need for more information on the trees and the arborist report and so forth.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
How do you, John, how do you feel about trees and parking, swapping trees for parking?
It depends on if that tree, that, I think is so wonderful and lovely and magnificent and old, if it were really, needed to come down, I think based on an arborist report. Now, if the arborist said that needs to come down regardless of a parking space or construction, then that takes that off the table. But no, I certainly want to preserve trees.
Yeah.
So it's less of a swap parking for tree as opposed to, is this tree going to be endangered by the construction?
Yeah, I think we can talk about that and get that back to Jay so he knows exactly where we stand and what he needs to answer clearly.
Diane, do you have a sense of that? You just said something about getting him information
For Jay tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Thank you, Jay. I hope you
Yeah.
understand our situation.
I do appreciate it.
It will be the afternoon.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. I think I've got one more on the docket. I don't know if you guys want to get right to it or
Which one are you on?
4 Deer Run.
– 17 and 18 items.
Okay, yeah. Was that long driveway, wasn't it?
I think that was that Caillou.
That's-
This is the footprint
Yeah.
issue, and looks like there's a variance request.
For the footprint or something else?
Yeah, for the footprint. It's the same as
Oh, same.
1,000 square feet.
Pushing some limits here again.
Hey, Joanne, you called?
The only thing I would note on this one,
Oh, it said missed call.
I know, is the driveway is pretty steep. I mean, it's right there at the,
No worries, no worries. Okay, so we're all good?
Very steep.
we need to require the. green.
Okay, you have a good night. Yeah, bye-bye.
Yeah, this is what, 23? So it's steep and curved.
Fortunately, again, that is by design, unfortunately, because of the way we have to match up to the existing grade where it meets the road.
Can we do the grooving in the driveway, much like?
We could, if you guys think it's important.
Yeah,
Yep, 20,
Are we working on
23.
17 or 18 right now?
17. Anybody else have any other issues? You have anything to show us, Joel?
What I put in my report here. Variance request, sliding down directed only. Yeah, review spec sheet, colors, lighting, etc. Variance.
Arborist, the number of trees being taken,
Mhm.
and the lighting. Which are
Yep, it's definitely downshine lights here, for sure.
Is that, can you tell us what it says contemporary recessed downshining light? Is that the eve lighting?
No,
Something different.
that's, so, if it, for eve lighting, we always do, it only goes one direction. It's sort of like a recessed can light in the eve is what that looks like. And when we say contemporary downshine, there's a picture of it right there at the bottom right. Yeah, it's a can, it has a
Got it.
cap on the top, so it doesn't shoot out the top. It just goes
Got it. Thank you.
down. Yep,
I was just unclear about that. Thank
no
you.
problem.
Yeah, even at 23, that driveway slope. I mean, people are afraid of their driveways out here. And we're getting a lot of requests for street parking because of that. Yeah, we'll definitely need what do you call a rake finish, Joel?
What was that term?
Rake finish?
Yeah, yeah,
The groove driveway.
yeah. Anybody have any other issues here? You said something about trees.
We had said when we visited that we wanted an arborist to take a look because of the number of trees that was.
While we're on the topic of trees, there is one tree on here. That is real close to the back foundation. Yeah, Joel's got it pulled up right there. It's that one right by the line that says 20. Yeah, that one. I would recommend that we remove that. It's not shown on this, but I think you guys would agree. You cool with that?
I think that would take away the need for the report.
100%. I was hoping you guys would say, please remove that tree because it is very close to the foundation. I'm not sure why it got missed, but it really should be flagged. We really try to keep as many trees as possible. We really do. But I think in the best interest of this not being a hazard for the future owner, because I'm not moving in this house, we're gonna build it and sell it. I think it'd be best if it were removed, but that's up to you guys. I was just kind of hoping you'd tell me.
The tree on the top, is that near the property line, on the property line? Where does that one sit? Well, right on the top. Looks like the
That
property-
big guy up here, it's 48.
No, the one that's coming out there, that 24.
The 48.
Oh yeah, maybe it's the ones, maybe it's shared ownership. A 24H, the hemlock.
Yeah.
So in that case, you'd have to, if it's under shared ownership, obtain permission from the adjacent lot to remove that tree.
Written permission.
That's fine. We could do that.
And since we're talking about trees, the front right side, bottom, that big 38, it looks like something like that right there.
Right down here.
This fir tree? Mhm.
Looks sufficiently distant from the house. I guess I'm curious why that one
Yeah, that's a good catch.
needs to come down.
Yeah, that's a good question. Well,
Able to answer that today, but
we certainly don't need to remove it. If your preference is to keep it, I'm all about keeping the trees.
which one?
Yeah, so do I.
Okay, is there a way to notate which trees we're referring to, Joel?
38 up.
Yeah, so we could use location, 38-inch for
Okay.
the left front of the house.
So is that something you would keep track of?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, if you make it in your motion.
So you're saying that's not a problem to leave it?
Yeah, that's great. I think the only thing that could possibly is the driveway, proximity to the driveway, And I think we're shoved over about as far as we can get without making it weirder. So, but yeah, absolutely. If we can leave that tree, I'm definitely into it.
Okay, so we wouldn't require arborist.
No. That's what we.
But yeah, permission from the neighbor to remove that one that appears to be shared, totally good.
Yeah, so I'm looking at written permission from the neighbor for that tree, the rake finish on the driveway, and let's see if we can't save 38F.
I'll make a motion to approve based on those contingencies.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is that unanimous?
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the variance for the same construction.
All in favor? Aye.
You got your money's worth tonight, Jay.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thanks. I'm not going home empty-handed. I do appreciate that. And I really thank you guys for the extended discourse. It's really appreciated.
That's why we're here.
Okay, great.
Here.
So, unless there's anything else, I will, Diane will be following with me tomorrow and we will turn this back around like a boomerang to you guys and see you at the next meeting.
Thank you for your good attitude
Yeah,
around this whole thing.
that's what I'm here for too. So,
Make a note, the next meeting is a weird one. It's on a Tuesday.
due to 4th of July.
Correct.
Great. So we're gonna pick up.
July 2nd at 6 PM on Zoom.
Okay, sure.
Shaking it up a little bit.
And the neighbor, the 4 Deer Run that you need permission from is an SVCA owned lot,
Oh, it's an SBCA lot?
2 Deer Run.
Okay, great. So, what is the mechanism to request for that? Is that to,
Send an email.
to you?
Sure.
All right, we're in business.
May I just briefly ask, did we approve 4 Deer Run, but with the addition of that an arborist report needs to be made?
No, we don't need one.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, John.
Anything else?
We're good.
Okay, great.
Thanks a lot, Jay.
Thank you guys very much. Really appreciate it.
Is David here?
What item?
24. Oh, good. That looks easy.
Thank you for your patience, David. We drove over to this house. It's a lovely house. And we looked at where the light is proposed to go. Comments?
Why the change?
Well, I didn't have a floodlight in the beginning. It's a long driveway, and I just wanted it seems like more contemporary thing to do is to have like video surveillance if something, or like if somebody comes over, I kind of want to know who it is. Just
Yeah.
the addition of just having that camera and the light, it's gonna be helpful.
Yeah, we I think we can agree with with the use of it. That you're aware of the problems though with floodlights when there are a lot of people who have their floodlights on constantly and
Kind of big for the
they're
lot.
in the neighbor's yard. They're, we looked at the house and we saw that there are some neighbors that it could possibly affect. If it's misused.
Right.
If they're pointing down, we don't think it's a problem at all. But there are a lot of situations in Sutton Valley where these floodlights do shine into people's houses. I'm in one of those houses right now. So we did want to make it clear, while floodlights are legal and it's in our policies, we did want to point out the problems with them and hope that you're aware of those. Anybody else? Any comments about that?
Is this go ahead.
Just gonna ask, is this a variable setting for how long they stay on? Or are they motion detectors?
They're motion detected.
So motion, they come on for X amount of time and then they go off?
So I think it's the video gets motion detection, and after a minute or so, it would turn off, and it's probably just gonna be in the evenings when it turns on. So
Now, I noticed you had places for lights on the sides of the door too. Are you going to keep those on there?
yes, for on the sides.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're probably gonna stay on all the time. They're just like So whenever we walk, if I need it, I'll have it on. If otherwise, they're probably just gonna be off anyways.
Do you have a blink alarm system now? Is that what you're at? Is this?
I'm gonna have a blank doorbell. And I do have a camera in my garage, in my garage door opener. Um, just tech stuff that you can
Okay.
open remotely and stuff.
I was just gonna, I have a Simply Safe system that has the outdoor cameras with the light built in. And does the same thing. It captures motion, turns the light on, captures whoever's moving there. And it's way smaller than this camera about that. So I don't know, maybe just encourage you to look at other options too. This was a pretty big,
Yeah, it's
big light.
about that big with the lights. So
Yeah.
just long.
And the one I have is on my driveway, and when somebody comes on, it does have a little light, but you almost don't even notice it. It just lights it up enough to where the camera can pick up. It's an infrared or a night vision camera, and the light just helps it enough to capture good images.
I'll definitely look into it. I know my doorbell is gonna be Blink branded, so they do work together. If you get one and the other.
You have the doorbell installed?
I have it purchased. I'm waiting for the electrician to install it. So I'll look into it. I'll see if it's a better option. I'll definitely consider it.
I think your message, Daniel, was this is probably permitted, but we want to see it used sparingly and on and off quickly.
Yeah, we want to get that message out, not just to David, but to everyone that is a problem in the neighborhood. And these tend to be one of the biggest problems, the floodlights that could point in any direction and could come on when a car drives by. So I think we're okay with this, but we do want people to be aware that it is a problem in Sudden Valley. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve with advisory caution.
Nice.
With what? I'm sorry.
Advisory caution.
Can use that one. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thanks.
I do have another item on the agenda.
Okay. What, item 25?
11 Oval Court.
What's the address? Same address?
11 Oval Court.
25.
Oh yeah, so what's the arborist report here? I see that in red. Is that something?
Yeah, so there's two trees here I'd identified as being potentially impacted by construction along the right side property line. At least one tree I think is under, I'm not sure if it's complete ownership, but definitely significant ownership of the lot next door, lot 97. And I believe the owner of that lot is also the owner of the house next door on lot 95. And
So the owner on either side is the same person?
mhm.
Oh.
And as of today, he has not given permission to remove that tree yet. But I think my understanding is that he was going to have an arborist come out and evaluate the tree.
Yesterday, and I don't know if he got the report back yet, but we didn't
Okay.
get it. We didn't
Okay.
didn't get it emailed yet. The problem with that tree is there's one that's on our property completely, and it's just so close to the other tree that if we cut one down, we can't remove the roots.
Mhm.
So we're still waiting on the report for the other tree.
I'm sorry, which one is that, Joel?
This green highlighted one down here. Mhm.
And where's the other tree that's going to come down?
Oh, it's right next to.
Oh, I
There's
see.
two of them right next to each other. Yeah, it's hard to.
So they're not circled for removal?
They're circled right now. One has a separate ribbon for the other arborist report, but we're just waiting for the arborist report, and it's either gonna be they're both getting cut down or they're both gonna be left because we can't remove the roots from one and not impact the other.
They're not circled on this site plan, right?
No,
Correct.
they're not.
Correct.
They're not.
Yeah. I identified him as potentially being impacted by construction.
Okay. So the request is this is a construction request an application for new construction with the
Mhm.
issue being those two trees have to come out to do the construction.
Perhaps,
on-
depending on what the arborist says, that's kind of what we're waiting for now. But I recommended obtain permission from the neighbor. Neighbor came out, denied permission until at least he had an arborist,
Okay.
you know,
So
a
he
specialist.
denied until he gets a report?
At least, yeah, right?
He just getting his own arborist in opinion.
So why, does he care if it's cut? I don't understand. I mean, if I didn't want the tree cut down, I wouldn't be waiting for an arborist. Why would he? I'm not sure what the status is of that tree.
We want to get it cut down because there's gonna be a footing by the retaining wall by the stairs. We
Mhm.
want to cut it down, but we can't cut one down and leave the other one because the roots are just so close together. We can't just pull the roots out for one tree and not impact the other tree. So we're kind of in a limbo right now with the neighbor.
So, the neighbor's permission is pending. You think it's coming, but
We don't know
we have no
which,
idea.
I don't know which way he's gonna lean. But,
So, I mean, it would definitely be contingent on a written letter from the neighbor. I wouldn't want a neighbor's tree to be
Mhm.
cut down without,
right, and so that's what I made the recommendation for.
Yeah.
And the neighbor said, you know, hold on, let me get an arborist.
But other than these two trees and potentially in contention, everything else checks out with us.
But
Looks like.
everything else, yep, satisfies policy requirements. I have no other concerns. Here's our spec sheet.
So help me
I mean,
understand.
take a look at the colors, you know, make sure you approve the colors. The lighting will be downward shining only. We talked about that.
One way or the other, the neighbor has to approve the trees coming out. Even if the arborist says, oh, they're terrible trees, they need to come out, and the neighbor says, no, I don't want them out, he wins, right?
I don't know where it goes from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if it's on the neighbor's property or if it's a shared tree, then he's got to give approval. Is that right?
well, I mean, if, the house doesn't have to be right there.
Right. But
If the
it-
neighbor wants the tree and it's a healthy tree, then I would think that the builder would have to do something about it.
Right, that's what I mean. Then in this case, the adjacent property owner kind of controls the outcome of this.
I would hope so, yeah.
So if he's looking at, well, I want to get an arborist report and the arborist report says these trees are going to be compromised, then I would agree to take them out. But if one way or the other, it's his call,
I would think so, yeah,
his or her call.
yeah. So other than that, we would just do a approval contingent on the written. What about the height? Is that, I mean, is
Mhm.
that real? Is that really, it really fits?
Yeah, this is another one where we, you know, pull off the driveway. Right. Yeah, I know it's hard. I know it's hard to see when you get the printouts for the plans, but here's 1910
That,
for our height or the finished grade.
how is that verified after the construction is finished? Is that anything you can do or just,
That's not part of our final inspection checklist.
so they could make it 23 and we probably would never even know?
Maybe. I do have a laser.
that
I do have a laser pointer, but but yeah, it's not part of our final.
So you could technically do that, correct? It's just not part of it.
Don't know.
I think with these, we're seeing a lot of really tall houses. And I think at some point we need to make that part of our inspection. We'll talk, maybe we should talk about that, Joel, at some point. But yeah, this, I mean, I really have a hard time believing this fits that description or definition. And we kind of marveled at it at our tour
Mhm.
when we looked at this drawing initially.
I think due to the flat roof, it meets that. And this one's measured at 18 and 11, 10 feet from the wall.
And we did try to match the height of the neighboring houses. And if you go on the back of the houses on that circle, you'll see that they have 3-story, 4-story houses back there as well. So we're just
Mhm.
trying to match it. We don't want to have a house that's like lower than the rest of the houses. Be weird.
I would move to approve the application for construction pending the permission from the neighbor to remove the trees if that's necessary. for
Yeah, written
construction.
permission.
Written permission.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thanks. Who's waiting here?
You say it again?
Oh,
So
right.
this is the one we walked through.
Yeah.
Which number?
Pardon?
Which one?
It's number 23.
Oh,
Dimitri, you come up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But it's not steep.
It's level, yeah.
When we went out there and looked at this, the only question we had was about potential wetlands delineation, whether that's not our issue, but that's a county issue.
I'm sorry, a wetland?
Wetland, did you have to do any
Yeah,
wetlands?
so before I bought the property, I had a gal come out there and check, and I could look it up. I'm not sure. I got a verbal from her for sure. I believe I have an email from her also. So there's no wetlands anywhere near that. So I did check that before buying the property.
Did the county make you
Nope,
fill out anything on that? No?
no.
When you say anywhere near, what is near? Because we do actually have limits on what
We do?
it's probably similar to the counties, but we do consider those things. And I don't see any indication. Is there any drawing that shows that, Joel?
No,
Where would that come from? Would he?
Well, yeah, we haven't received any wetlands, critical areas or mitigation report. Usually we, if there has been wetlands identified, usually county catches it.
Okay.
And then when they submit to Sudden Valley, which usually, excuse me, usually it's drawn on there. Either it's included in their plans, a buffer, they'll have buffer lines
Whether
on
they've
the site.
reviewed it
for-
or not for that, it would still be on the drawings that we're looking at.
Yeah, generally. Mhm.
That was my very first thing when I looked at the property is there wetlands? Because otherwise I wouldn't even bother with that. And that's before I even bought it, I paid the money, to get it checked out before.
Yeah, I think even if we did approve that, the county would just come in and say no. Eventually. Anything else, Dan?
I don't remember anything else from looking at it, other than it's
Just a very
kind of
usual lot.
sitting in the back corner there.
Get your mosquito spray out.
Can I get
We were
a
kind
motion?
of swarmed.
Approve as submitted.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thanks for waiting.
Thank you.
all night.
Yeah, no
You
problem.
just gotta wait till the end, you wear us down and we're easy.
You get to go home.
I messed up by not with the other one. I should have said something, but it's all right. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, we got this thing.
That should be fairly well win.
Item 4, Grandview Lane exterior paint.
Move to approve.
See what the colors are yet, Joe G?
Oh, they are. We love these colors.
Motion. Second, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yeah, I'm not crazy about them, but my team loves them. Unanimous. Item 8, 68 Marigold Drive, hot tub.
We went and looked at this and
Yeah.
visited the guy. Seemed like he had a good plan.
Yeah.
I'll move
The mic.
We went and looked at it. Seemed like he had a good plan. Move approval.
Yeah, he's pretty clear on his description of it. I think that's clear enough for us to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That Ken's motion?
Yes.
Yes.
Item 9, 425 Sudden Valley Drive, an addition. This is an in concept review. Item 9. Now, Joel, this isn't for approval. This is just for us.
Right, right. This is in concept, so he will need to come back with a official submittal. It'll be a tier 2 edition, so we'll look for open space rules mostly. That open space and setbacks, and then do a final inspection. So he had kind of things together, and then I had a meeting with the designer, and oh yeah, I know I'm just looking.
So is there a deck there now?
Yes, but it's smaller, and so they're going to expand the deck, and because of that increased square footage, they have to comply with the 50% open space rule. That's an ongoing requirement. So be demolishing the old deck, and sorry, which page? There's 178 pages. Agenda.
Item 9.
Item 9. All
So they're just asking us at this point, do we have any concerns with the direction that they're headed?
right. Right. Mm-hmm.
Do we take action on this? We're not really approving anything, are we?
I think the approval. I'm not an expert. I guess you guys are, but
It's not an approval to actually do it, but I think it's in concept that we would approve. It's not, they can't build it based on this.
Mhm.
But what did you say about the open space, Joel? They're still in compliance with that?
I haven't. We haven't done a review yet because we don't do our reviews until they officially submit. But that's mostly what I'd be looking for. They're not, raising a roof height, so we're not concerned about height. They're not increasing roof area, so we're not concerned about the property coverage rule. That's a 35%, but because they are expanding the deck, our open space rules do require 50% of the lot be maintained as open space. That includes decks, even if they're not weather tight.
So if they decide to go forward with this, they would submit an application then also, right? This isn't any approval we would give today isn't a green light to go do anything other than
Correct.
finalize their plans.
Correct. But it's a way for them to receive feedback if there are concerns about it ahead of time, if they have questions. One thing that, just by looking at it, there is a privacy screen being proposed here as well. I know there are, I think there's some limits on the size of that privacy screen in the policies. I would think they have a neighbor next door. Again, but sizing it, things like that, that would come under a review when he submits his application.
Well, there probably will be a privacy screen requirement for hot tubs coming soon. The height, what is the height for that?
We don't know yet. So because it's an in-concept review, we don't spend time on.
We like the idea of a hot tub privacy screen.
They got a number on it. I can't tell what that number is. It's like a 10 foot or 11 foot.
13.
If you look at the bottom, the drawing in the bottom corner there, if you zoom in, there's a height on that privacy screen, it looks like.
Yeah, it's,
Can't read it on
it's a
mine.
bit, little grainy on my screen. I'll pull up, if I pull up the PDF, we'll see it.
It looks like it's could be 6 foot or 8 foot or 10 foot. 'Cause the railing is 3 foot. Looks like it's the railing at 2x plus.
This is the software we use to do our majority of our plan reviews now. Oftentimes there's more pages in here, like a foundation plan that, you know, I don't include with the packet, because then your packet would be a few hundred pages long. But we can usually pull measurements directly from this. This,
Here you go, 8 foot.
yeah, it's calling for an 8 foot. 8 foot high.
Yeah, that might be a concern.
You'd see what the policy is. And this is something where I would catch on a review and let them know ahead of time, hey, our privacy screens are only 6 feet high or
Yeah.
8 feet long, and let them know ahead of time before
We
he
like
gets
the
that
idea of
fixed.
the screen there, but
Mhm.
8 foot would raise some eyebrows here.
Mhm. And then if they really want a bigger privacy screen and say, well, you could submit for a variance. Mhm.
So is this one where we would approve the concept, maybe flag some concerns for them, like the privacy screen height,
Mhm.
make sure it's in compliance with the property coverage limitations?
So we're not approving, we're just saying, okay to proceed.
I think so. Or any approval in concept is non-binding.
I'm aware of a one of these situations where everybody approved it as a in concept, and people went forward assuming that if everything was okay. So I'd be reluctant to say I approve this as it is. I think we've got to.
Say in concept, this is not an approval.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, I mean,
Should we include our comments of privacy screen being possibly too tall, open space rule being abided by, anything else?
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, I could agree with that.
Motion to approve pending more details. I'd also like to see like the existing and what's being torn down, and then more details that I think Joel has.
Mhm.
Anyway, motion to approve pending with the additional comments that the privacy screen may be an issue, may be too tall, and that we want it to abide by the open space rule.
I think that's it. All in favor of those comments?
Aye.
Aye. Yeah. Down to item 24. We've got number 10. Is that correct?
One was kind of thin.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Very short on details.
Oh, yeah.
Which one's that?
Make a motion to deny
10, number 10.
we,
Oh, that's 18 Sun Valley.
oh, you have the information?
I can a little bit about it.
Yeah. We wonder why they would remove a retaining wall.
Yeah, let me wrap my head around it.
One sentence. It's a one sentence.
Yeah, so on this one, did you guys visit the?
We didn't go look at it.
So this one, on the original approval, there was a retaining wall. It's an upsloping lot, and there was a short retaining wall behind the house. And now the house is nearing completion, and they no longer want to do the retaining wall and just keep it as a slope. Yeah. There were walls in front, right? And those were all approved on a previous submittal. but upon the final inspection, saw that there was not a wall in the rear where the plans that were approved showed a wall that was agreed to be built. So anytime we have a change in construction, right, where we know, say, you said you're going to build a wall here, there's not a wall here, you have to get this approved now to not have a wall here. And the opposite, yeah, and
exterior
mhm,
alteration.
it should be a construction change. And the opposite is true. If there was not a wall existing and then there were walls, then he has to get that approved too, just like the walls in front.
The request says request to remove retaining wall from the plans.
So the retaining wall was not built.
Not been built.
Yeah. And so yeah, instead of actually building it and then removing it, he's just hoping to not have to build it.
So an engineer looked at that and determined it's not necessary.
It's not that, not to the best of my knowledge, but the wall, it would be a short wall, 4 feet or less. That's what was approved. Correct.
So, whoops.
Mhm.
So this is just dotting i's and crossing t's.
Is it okay that this is an exterior alteration request? Shouldn't that be a construction change?
That's my error for not.
Should be, because he is under construction, yeah.
Can we
Okay.
defer action on this to a subsequent meeting and pending a revised revised request that reflects the proper form and also maybe a little bit more drawings, like, so we can see what
Photos and-
proposed or what he said he was
Mhm.
going to do and what he didn't do?
Good idea.
Could we defer that? Deny.
Okay.
Deny.
Move
Deny.
to deny.
Yeah, submitted.
Okay, and what were the points that I need to write down? Correct form and more
Correct
detail,
form, for sure, and then more explanation that
why he doesn't want the
why
wall there.
there's
Yeah,
more concerned about liability.
maybe it would be good to see the original plan set that showed the wall, and then we can see like, okay, what didn't go in.
Right, drawings and so forth.
If it's, Joel, you said the construction's done?
Yeah, it's pretty much,
So if we went out
Pretty
there, we
final.
could see.
Yep. If
this
you
is
went
where
out,
we
you-
wanted to put the wall, or this is where he said they were gonna put the wall, and this is why there's no wall. And then it might make more sense to say, well, this would have been done to put a wall there.
Based on what you've seen, Joel, not a problem. Or you don't want to.
I don't know. I can't,
That's where
I can't really say either way. You know, it says in the policies, steep slopes over 2-to-1 horizontal, vertical, which are judged to be unstable by staff or ACC, have to be corrected by the construction of retaining walls.
I mean,
So
should
it
we
can't
get
be judged
a
to be
report?
unstable. I don't know.
It's easy to say,
Yeah, I don't
can
know.
hold it.
I don't know.
I mean, because none of us
Yeah.
just make that.
It is, I mean, it is a small slope, and it doesn't look like it's, continues really steeply above it, kind of tapers off. So during the final, when I do see something like this, I don't have the authority to approve it. That has to come from ACC. So that's why you guys are seeing it. Mhm.
I- yeah.
I don't want.
Mhm.
You don't have, somebody said,
Mhm.
they submitted, somebody said, you
What,
wall.
what changed? That he decided he doesn't need one. So we need more information to justify removing it.
Yeah, retaining walls are generally something that the engineers draw in, just go, never mind.
Yeah.
You're not gonna help. Yeah, we're gonna.
That was your motion to deny,
Yeah.
Yes.
vote?
All in favor of denying with these
Aye.
notes?
Aye.
Aye. Got the notes. All right. Tree removal, item 11. Is this one we thought we needed more info on?
I'll move to approve. I went and saw him. skinny little trees. They were pretty close to the house, both in front and back. And the whole place was just covered with trees, so nobody had missed these two.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Based on Joe Jean's description and those nice drawings of leaning trees. Weird trees in my neighborhood. All right, jeez. Oh, we did, oh, good. We did that one. Yeah. 26, item 26, 7 Skyland Court, paint.
Motion to approve 26 as submitted. If you're right.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Item 28. 6 Lost Fork Lane. Oh, yeah.
We didn't do
We did 27,
27.
additional construction parking. Yeah, the guy that wants to get permission to install a 40-foot culvert
Oh, right, yeah.
that he already installed.
You didn't do this.
No.
All right, yeah, item 27. This is one I talked to Joel about already. This has already been done. This already exists. So we went out and measured it. He's already got a 40-foot culvert there. I'm not sure what we're supposed to do with that. And I'm not sure what the reason is for having such a big area. I think we're probably okay with using this space as a construction parking, but I don't think we want 40 feet of on the street parking. So
To deny this and just leave it at status quo. Hold harmless. I mean, you already installed a 40-foot culvert. We're like, fine, you did that, nothing else.
Well, if it's denied, then I guess if it's denied, he would have to, remove 10 feet of it.
No, no, no.
Right.
I'm saying you did it.
Oh,
No converting to parking. You're done.
Well, is he going to, well, I haven't been out there to measure his culvert. Is it just like 10 extra feet of culvert hanging out in the ditch there? Is it
No,
covered?
he's got it fully
Gravel?
covered.
It is fully covered with gravel
Yeah.
already? Okay.
Yeah. And the way he's got it described here is I'd like to extend my culvert 20 foot so that the total is 40 foot. This will eliminate any present and future parking problems associated with my new home. Currently, the ditch is too close to the road pavement to legally park off the street. So this is not a construction change request. This is a parking request.
Yeah.
He's couching it as a construction change request or construction parking, but
Well, it's a new home under construction,
right,
so it would fall under a construction change request.
right.
Yeah, and so he's proposing parking in the right of way.
Okay.
And so if you do approve it, it also will come under the approval of Mike Brock. So any changes to the ditch requires his approval.
Construction change additional parking.
So if they need to put parking in for construction, what kind of request is that?
So then it would be you can do a temporary parking and
Okay.
approve it as a
That's
temporary
what it
thing.
looks like.
And then at the end, he has to
want.
remove it and
I don't-
restore the ditch.
I don't think my committee wants to approve 40 feet of on-street parking. Unless
Well,
I'm wrong.
yeah, well, it wouldn't be, I mean, you'd have if you look at the picture,
Driveway plus.
yeah, the driveway is 20 plus.
And he says in the written item 27, this will eliminate any present and future parking problems.
He's got a driveway, right?
So it would be an extra.
So does it seem like he needs that for construction, that extra space for parking, or is that legitimate?
No, it's a pretty narrow road. There's not a good place to park over there, in my opinion, but that's, Uh-huh.
Cement.
The forms on them. Yeah, with the forms on them.
mhm.
What's the easiest way out of this? Because I mean, he did something he wasn't supposed to do
Mhm.
yet.
So there is potential for fine for making an unapproved change, or a change prior to approval.
Yeah.
So he could be facing that fine.
I looked up,
I could look it up.
the ACC policy. I have a screenshot here, section 14.4.8. That says, well, I'm saying we may want to remind the contractor that, quote, fines may be assessed accordingly for violating ACC policies.
Yeah.
Our only recourse, really.
Yeah, I'm fine with him using it if he needs it for construction, but I don't think it could be converted to there's on-street parking or off-street parking. He's got a driveway.
So are you suggesting that after they're done building, they have to take?
That's what I would think. Is that reasonable, Joel? I mean, I mean, a lot of times they have extra space for their construction vehicles and then come back down to just the driveway area.
So it is something that, yeah, sometimes builders will ask for as a temporary parking spot, and right, because parking can be tight on lots, and that temporary looks exactly like that. You'd put in a culvert or with gravel, provide yourself, and it is in the policies that contractors must provide themselves on-site parking for them and their subs. If it's temporary, right, then it has to be removed at the end of construction. But it also could be made permanent. But I tell them, if you want to have it permanent, you have to get that approved as permanent. So in either case, if it's temporary or it's permanent, it needs ACC approval. If it's temporary, it needs to be removed at the end, and the ditch needs to be restored to its original condition.
So what's the width of the driveway now?
20.
It's 40 now.
It's probably
Just
well,
the driveway.
yeah, the driveway. Well, the culvert's 30. The driveway is 20. The driveway is 20 wide.
The driveway is 20. What's a good culvert width?
Yeah, well, so because the driveway, because the driveways and the culvert's coming out of the driveway at an angle like this, so the culvert needs to be longer,
Right.
to go through it. Right. Yep. Exactly.
So 30 would probably be good for their final.
I think 30 is
that
I
driveway.
think 30 is still appropriate.
That's probably why he asked for 30. And I think in your email, I got a 20-foot joint. I'll just throw that whole thing in there and see what happens.
I have
mean-
a question. How long can culverts be before they have to have a clean out space?
A good question. I don't know.
Because I
How long?
remember
Oh,
once
40
we were
feet.
looking at somebody and we made them put in a clean.
All right. Yeah.
40 feet. So 40 feet
Oh,
before you need so he can go 40 feet. If he wants to go more than 40 feet, he has to put a catch basin in.
So I'm thinking, I mean, I don't know about the fine or discussion, but I'm thinking that he could probably leave this until he's done with construction.
Microphone, please.
Is that how you feel?
yeah.
Just take it back to 30 when he's done? But he's okay to leave it. Does he need another request for temporary parking or what? Is this the right form?
This would be the form he'd submit, yeah, for temporary parking.
Okay. So I'm thinking we're approving this as temporary parking.
And what do we do about the fact that he's already done the work? Is there a fine for that?
I think, did you see a fine on it?
Supposedly. According to the policy, there's that likelihood.
Put in the newer version. Oh, here it is. Implementing unapproved changes that affect the exterior appearance of a house or a lot, $500.
Are those the new numbers?
500.
Are those the
It was 100. What's that?
Are those the new numbers?
Yeah, 100 was the.
A long meeting.
Sorry.
9:30.
Yeah, maybe. We got battery.
So the 500 is the current
Correct.
today?
It was 100, with the recent increase in fines, it's up to 500 now.
Alright, so, I'll make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve this construction change request for temporary parking during construction to 40 feet with the understanding that he's going to be fined for doing the work prior to the approval. And the further understanding that this is just for temporary for construction, that if he wants to continue this, he's going to have to resubmit a request for additional parking.
Perfect. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Did you get that one? I'm sorry. Doing two things at once.
That was a good motion, Dan.
That was a good move.
Just going to mic drop and go home then.
It was just 5 more.
5 more items.
All right, yeah. All right, this apparently, part of this was approved. Diane, you said you approved.
What number are we on?
28, 29, and 30 are the same place.
They were approved by you. Yeah, I didn't understand that either. Remember that
Yeah,
conversation?
he said that the stump removal was already approved.
Yeah.
That,
The landowner.
No, I think he said that, Mike approved, said he could take the stump out or something. I don't think we've approved.
the stump will not affect any of the drainage on the property is what Mike told him.
Okay, so we still need to approve this. Okay.
You doing 28 first?
We are doing, I guess let's start at 28. It's the rock.
Place the small rocks.
But at the same, relatively the same height, current ones. We're approximately 40 feet. Sorry.
Motion to approve 28.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I-
Aye.
Aye. All right, this one is item 29.
This is that weird.
The
fence
weird
that was.
privacy fence.
Yeah.
We went back and forth on this a lot, and we offered suggestions to him as to what might work for us. I think at this point we're going to make a determination what we collectively thought. Personally, I think his privacy, I'm going to call it a fence, is a little overkill for a bedroom window that he was concerned about. This is definitely not something that we like to see in Sudden Valley. And we are looking for other solutions other than what was it, a 30-foot fence?
It was a bathroom window that he was concerned
Yeah.
about. To be
But
clear.
he was willing to cut it down in half or something.
Yeah, at one point I suggested to him that maybe if we made it, and he showed us the lines on there, and I don't really see the lines here, but I think it came out to the 20 feet.
But he was also willing to put spaces between.
Right, and I think that's probably the best, yeah, throwing this out there, maybe 3 privacy screens. What are their standard is 8, right? 8 feet
8 feet wide and
Right.
6 feet tall.
with 2-foot division between them.
I don't think in the policy it says how much space needs to be between them.
No.
I think it's up to us.
It's up to us.
I would say, I think that's a great idea to hold him to what the policy states. But I would go more, and he was amenable to a 20-foot privacy fence, to say 2 8-foot wide by 6 feet tall solid fences separated by 4 feet of vegetation. So you have 8.
So no longer than
in the
20.
Middle, so you have 20 feet.
So no longer two panels, no longer than 20 feet total.
Correct. And he was amenable to the 20-foot idea, and I think less is more in this case.
Yeah, I think so.
As the window, The bathroom window he's talking about is about 2 feet wide and 4 feet tall, and I think it's tri-level or, so it's actually
Level.
kind of lower than, anyway.
I didn't see that. I mean, pull the shade down if you have a concern about privacy in the bathroom, but
That's what most.
I agree.
I looked
would
at
put-
it and my guess is it's a preview to a dog fence that's gonna go in.
Oh, yeah, she was walking
Oh,
the
yeah.
dog.
But this is just the first step in putting a fence in that's eventually gonna be something that extends into the backyard for a dog fence, but that's just.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, we can,
I think we should, remember some of the other privacy fences that we've been approving just lately before.
I
we
agree.
make-
We need to look at each
before
one
we make
individually.
This, so stern compared to what other privacy fences we've been approving. I think we should give this guy a leeway because he's asking before he built them.
He was very accommodating.
And I think that
I could be
Where the
accommodating
house-
too if I'm asking for a moat, but you can't give
What?
it to me.
you want me to make a motion because I'm gonna.
Let's just talk a little bit longer about this. I think that, I understand that some of our other privacy screens went well beyond what we would like to see. Some of them have been very creative in that they worked well with the architecture of the existing house and were considerate of the neighbors. Some of them were based on the position and how obtrusive they would be to, and how much they would be seen by other neighbors. That's how I came to my votes on a lot of these. I think that first of all, I don't even think he really needs one, but he's asking for one, and privacy screens are allowed, especially if there's a space between them. So I would be really happy if he did two with a space between for a total of a 20-foot fence. If anybody wants to go beyond that to make Joe Jean a little happier,
Well,
are there
20
any
feet-
other
I think 20
options?
feet for him would have been fine.
I think so too.
But when you start telling him, well, we want an 8-foot one, but only 3 feet between them, what if he only wants two between the two 8-foot?
Well, he can go up to 20 feet. He can put them as close as he wants, I would say.
What if we told him no to his request, but we're asking him to come back with another request and a fence that includes no more than 20 feet of fence, and then let him decide how he wants to space it, place it, and all that? Or do we get?
I did ask him about the urgency of it. I'm not sure why, but he wants to hurry up and jump on it. And I told him we would consider that. If you're not comfortable with that, or if the committee's not comfortable with that, that's fine with me. I think he would be happy with just about anything, and I think 2 panels would make him happy. Don't you think so?
I think so.
And he can configure it any way he wants. Are you
So
okay?
you would say no more than 2 10-foot panels, configure it
Two
any way you
8-foot.
want.
Well,
Two 8-foot panels, configure it any way you want.
Yeah, 6 feet high, made of. I think you mentioned it was made of cedar wood. Yeah.
That follows the rock wall.
Yes.
Is this in the 20-foot front setback?
Good question.
Well, that's.
Park on
What did you say?
space that's not theirs.
Yeah, that was another thing. He said that it was already approved that he could build it there because the wall was there already. This is what he said, and the rock wall. So you're suggesting maybe we need a variance for that,
It is rock wall.
because there's an existing rock wall, and I think the property line was right at where that ditch is.
Yeah, it looks like that rock
So
wall
it's not
serves as
5
some,
feet.
some ditch embankment,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, so maybe he needs a variance request?
That's my reading of the rules.
Yeah, he said a lot of things
Um,
I took for his word. I think we need,
share screen. Yeah.
So maybe we deny as submitted,
What's the set, what do you mean by a set area?
5 feet from the property line.
Yeah, it's hard to tell by the map, but there's that, where he was parked, where his car was parked, that was
was,
Sudden Valley right away.
Yes.
Mhm.
Wanted to be pretty close to that. If you look at the,
No, he wanted to be right by the ditch.
Stream rivulet thing, the small rock.
Ditch.
I think that's where his property line, he just wants to take it right off of that.
so he can be on his, he has to be 5 foot off his property.
And that's when we said that, came back, I know I got it approved.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
Well, I guess we'll need to see that
Mhm.
approval.
Said he had the stump approved.
I'm sorry?
He also said he had the stump removal approved.
Well,
Yeah. All right, so we need more information. So I'm gonna say, we can listen to our video here and know why we are denying as submitted.
So are we requesting that he come back with some more information on the property lines, where he would place it relative to the property lines, and then also revision to 2 8-foot panels? Is that what
Yeah,
we're
and
asking?
a variance request.
A variance request. There's 2 8-foot panels and a variance request if he wants to place it within the setback area.
So the stump, I think we should deny as submitted too, until we see the permission for that too. Did we, I'm sorry, did we vote on this? 29?
Why are we gonna deny the stump?
Because we don't know if he had submitted a variance for this, for the setback.
But to take the stump out?
No, no, this is for the fence.
Yeah,
Because of that, the minimum setback rule.
well, yeah, for the fence.
So we're voting, are we voting on the fence? I guess I can make that, whatever I
Yes.
did was a motion there.
Yeah.
And then we're voting to deny based on the concern over the setback and asking him to resubmit with a variance request if he wants to be within the setback area. And then 2 panels, no more than two 8-foot panels, 6 feet high, configured how he wants to configure them.
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And, I mean, if we approve this, Joel, I mean, it still has to, well, who approved it? Who did he say approved this?
Mike Brock went out there and I
Oh.
think he got confused as to getting approvals from Mike. Mike was like, this is okay with me, this is okay with me.
Approval on the stump, you
Oh.
mean?
Yeah. What do you think?
Kind of with Joe Jean, why do we care if he takes an old dead stump out?
Okay.
He
Is that your
can't,
motion?
he said he couldn't build the wall with the stump there.
I've got no problem with him removing it. So I make a motion to approve removal of the stump. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Item 31, 111 Polo Park Drive. In concept parking.
In concept review.
I think we had similar views on this. John, you want to articulate what you were thinking here?
Let's see here. I think there was, when we went to visit this location, there was some concern that what the retaining wall would look like. So they have to excavate, looks like maybe at the top edge of that slope, about 4 feet down to the roadway. And what there's appears to be 2 trees. They're pretty small trees, like less than 6 inches, and that would need to be addressed. So that's one issue, the excavation and the retaining wall. And then we certainly did want to have the culvert pipe in there, just to be clear. And to the right of that proposed parking area is, I think Dan discovered what do you call that when the water goes into the
inlet or drain inlet.
drain inlet?
It drains in there on that side of the road, whatever we're looking at. On the house side of the road where the house is, and then it collects there, and then it goes under the road and dumps out into a little swale on the other side. Yeah, you need to have that culvert engineered, because that could actually screw up that inlet if it's not done right.
Right, exactly. So I don't recall what we thought would be an appropriate retaining wall. I think some people said big rocks might be really nice and kind of add a sort of a beauty element to it. Other people said, we don't want a concrete,
Yeah, cinder
wall,
blocks just aren't allowed
cinder
anyway.
block or something. But that perhaps the large paver retainers might be acceptable. What are the thoughts?
I think you summarized them all right there. This is an in concept, and you just said, talk to us more about what your plans are.
Especially about the retaining wall.
So you're okay with the pad on his second lot?
I
He
think
didn't
that's
wanna
the
pay
fundamental
for a bunch
question.
of
Yeah.
he didn't want to pay for a bunch of stuff if you weren't going to let him, park there.
And I think we got a threshold question first as to whether, if he came back with an award-winning design, would we be okay with that? Or are we okay with him parking there, or would we rather see him flat out not park there? Is there a need for him to park there?
Well, I think we were split on the vote. There was concern about setting precedent, but at the same time, other people were parking on the street too.
Yeah, we don't like the idea of on-street parking, especially if there's a driveway, a fairly big driveway too, with space for a turnaround. That's why I think it does come down to, yes, certainly we'd consider it. We would definitely need to be convinced though. But I think for the most part, we don't like the idea.
There are 2 full parking spaces at the top of that driveway on the left of the garage. There was a pickup truck there, and there was certainly enough room for another car. I'm not sure what their parking needs are, or how many people live there and have cars and what have you, but
Yeah, I think there has to be a really compelling reason for us to consider
I'm
this.
thinking I might remember, and I could be totally wrong, that it's for winter parking. Is that slope really bad? I may have the wrong house.
Well, that's valid, whether he said that or not.
it is steep, but there are no stairs there, and I think it's a catch-22. You put a parking space in, and then you can't walk up the driveway sometimes.
It was steep, but there are steeper ones. Ours is steeper, longer. It wasn't like where you had to turn and go down or up or any weird. I mean, it was just a straight shot up. So. I don't know. I'm kind of with Daniel. Like, there's got to be a pretty compelling reason to go carve the side of a hill out and affect the drainage to add a parking spot in an area where they've already got 2 plus the garage.
And the need for a retaining wall and
Yeah.
taking little trees out.
Yeah, so I guess the motion is we probably would not accept the off-street parking for this situation just because of we understand there's a problem with the parking in the winter, going up the driveway. A lot of people have that problem, and we're all sympathetic to that, but we don't want to see the whole all of a sudden valley paved for extra parking. I would say yes, yes. That would be the motion to deny.
I,
Those
I'd,
comments.
I'd tend to, I don't know how this approval or denial goes, but I would say take another swing at it, folks, Craig and Mark, and show us more details. Show us what the proposed parking space is going to look like. You're going to put rocks in there. You're going to put, you're going to plant some more trees for the trees you're taking down or whatever, and so forth.
Well, those are good notes for him. The motion is to deny. You can vote any way you want. All in favor of denying?
Aye.
I abstain.
You're opposed or you abstain?
Pardon me?
You oppose or you abstain?
What difference does it make?
You voting no or just not voting at all?
Agree that they should have?
Okay,
Abstain means you don't have it.
okay, well, then I'll vote no.
No.
I mean,
So
I'm against the,
opposed to denial.
You're against the parking?
I'm against voting,
The motion was to deny.
yes, and I'm against.
All in favor of that motion? So deny.
I'm not in favor of that motion.
Who was in favor of that?
Everybody else.
Connor, you,
Okay. Okay.
but not Alan.
Three yeas and two nays.
So it's still. a
Give them something to work for.
Diane, do you give them any reason for it, or you just say,
I mean, I think,
Go listen to the recording.
okay,
They could have come.
yeah.
I think that's best if they listen to our.
Yeah, I think I would want to see not the design as much as like a compelling reason why you really need parking. It looked to us like there was quite a bit of parking there, so.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's some other compelling reason that they need it, then they didn't share that with us.
Yeah. Well, I think they got an idea of how we feel. All right, item 32, 190 Polo Park Drive. We approved.
This is the place with the, fish pond.
Oh, right. Oh, is this one?
Yeah, we've been there.
So they're making it smaller than the original.
Is it deck expansion? Are we on item 32?
Yeah.
I think this might fall under a tier 2. Is it? Yeah, I think it's a tier 2. So just like the last deck, you're expanding deck, you're increasing your open space. Yeah, I think it qualifies as a tier 2 addition.
So was,
This wasn't the place with the fish pond, so.
Yeah, maybe.
that's what I was
It
trying to make it.
it was the last one.
So what's the status of this? It's just a different tier designation?
Well, yeah, if it's a just like so the last the end concept deck we had tonight, that was going to be considered a tier 2 addition because they're increasing their deck space. Right, they're increasing their lot, they're decreasing their open space by building more deck, and so they need to still comply with that 50% open space rule. So if we're going to be consistent with that, then is an expanding deck here, right? Your existing deck plus your future deck.
This is, they submitted a request in 2021 that was approved.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't they go forward with the construction then? They just didn't
No.
do it then?
Yeah, we don't know.
So there's no, they're not really changing it from there, are they?
It was an exterior alteration.
So in,
You guys consider it. Good.
not exactly sure
Mhm.
what we have to do here. I mean, it's the same design, right? That was approved?
This is the one where we said we wanted to see more of a site plan, like how,
Right.
where's the lot, where's the house, where's the existing deck, where's the expansion?
Where's the setbacks?
Where's the
Where
setbacks?
are the percentages of
Yeah.
the open
Yeah.
space?
Mm-hmm.
Right,
We're not seeing any of that.
Yeah.
right.
What was approved?
What was approved in 2021 was just
Yeah.
plan at the rear deck.
Identical to what they're asking for now.
They just said, I have a deck at the, pardon? I have a plan at the back of my deck, plan to extend. The future deck will be about twice. The future deck will be about twice its size. That's all, that's what they said in 2021. They must not have gone forward with it. So they're back again in 2024 with the same request. And I think what we said was, don't know how we feel about this because we need to see a site plan that shows the home with the lot and the setbacks, the existing deck, where the new deck will go, and then a calculation of the coverage area.
The open space rule.
The open space rule. Was that the concern that we had when we discussed this?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. I'll make a motion to deny the request and ask that they resubmit with those additional items as a tier 2.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
2 more, folks.
Temporary parking. Okay.
10 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah.
Item 33?
Yes. Anybody have any problems with the temporary parking?
So they're putting a culvert pipe in there so they can park during construction.
Mhm.
And then you go afterwards and make
Yeah,
sure
so
that
during
that
the
gets
final-
pulled out and
If it was still there, I'd ask him to, I would either, during the final inspection, I'd say, this was temporary, you need to remove it, and then you can pass your final. If you want to keep it, you have to submit again and try to get it as permanent. Right now, he wants to at least get temporary.
Okay, motion to approve 33 is temporary parking during construction.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I don't think I missed any, so 34 will be our last one.
Yeah.
All right, 34. Resubmission. Oh, yeah.
All right. So it was submitted in submitted in April, was denied, and denied with resubmit request that includes setbacks and calculations, providing the deck will not violate the additional open space.
Oh, this is the fish pond, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we had a problem with how much open space there was before, and I guess they amended that.
They amended it by making the request smaller, square foot.
Did Diane or Joel, did you verify these numbers on the lot size and all that?
No, well, we did not. We received whatever this is, whatever you're seeing. We didn't receive a site plan with numbers we can pull from. So the numbers we're given here are the numbers that were given. Again,
I think when we went to look at it, we were surprised that it was over the coverage. So it didn't appear to be too obtrusive. But, you know, the numbers, I don't know how we could verify those.
Is this a tier 2 addition, extension of a deck, increasing open space?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting to note that they wanted the new deck to be 168.75 square feet larger. And they include the previous submission with the drawing, but there's no drawing of their current proposal. I'm just curious what that looks like.
On page,
It's the previous one, I think, right?
Yeah.
they didn't come back to all we asked for last.
Right.
What do you say we all go over there right now and measure it?
If you can explain to my wife why I am not home.
We've already been there twice.
They're delightful people too. Anybody have any issues with what we have in front of us?
I'll move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do we have to tell them what tier it is?
But then would I do my review if they've already got it approved?
I don't.
Yeah,
Approved twice.
I know.
So we've never really made that designation in our motions.
Right.
So
Okay, you ignore me.
move to approve, Joe Jean, right? You said, okay, all in favor of approval?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned 10:02.